There we go. And I'm out of focus. Already, we started off so wonderfully. What a great way to start the night, everybody. Welcome, Evil Tentacle, Mousimus, hello. Jim Mix Games. Happy Crimson Katuze. Good to see you guys. Yeah, we're going to get started real soon. Oh, look, I'm in focus again. Isn't that nice? Jim's in focus. I'm in focus. Fantastic. In focus now. All good. Wonderful, Mousimus. Thank you. Yeah, we're going to get started. We were very nearly on time today. Justin Paul, very good to see you. Good evening. And now, the thing that I have to keep going back to OBS to check. Video 1990X. Thanks for the follow. Judge Judy Slayer. Thanks for the follow. Yeah, we're using Zoom today, and the cameras like to play tricks on me unless I just screen share my entire display. So we're going to get a lot of infinitely recursive screens as I check my Twitch status and things like that. Grundislav, happy Crimson Tuesday. Milady D. Winter, hello as well. Yeah, welcome. This is going to be super exciting. This is our third guest for stream, and Grundislav was actually our second guest, which was really nice. And Anna from the Classic Gamers Guild podcast was our first guest. And just gonna put some links down. Ronald Drexler, good to see you as well. So I've got some links for all the guests we've had so far on Crimson Tuesday. First guest was Anna from the Classic Gamers Guild podcast. Second was Francisco Gonzalez of Grindislav Games. And third we have Jim Maxwell from Jim Maxwell. Hello.
Hi, how are you?
And good. How are you?
I'm good.
Good. Yeah, they all have something in common. Actually, I know there was once a game show about what everyone had in common, and I'm not going to play the game show because I don't remember what the rules are. But all three of my guests have been beta testers for the Crimson Diamond, and so we're going to talk about that tonight. Yes, Deluxe Tux. Hello, Julian, Jim, and chat. Happy Crimson Tuesday, Blah Holtzen. Good to see you.
Hello.
Yeah, hello. So, I guess we might as well get started. I'm going to introduce Jim, and we have a bunch of fun stuff planned. Hopefully we'll get around to it, and we're gonna talk about games, which is kind of, I guess, what we do here sometimes. And we sometimes do art here, and it's not going to be me doing the art tonight. We're gonna be treated to some EGA art from an Emmy Award winner, which should be amazing. And I'm not creating any unrealistic expectations, I hope.
Good.
Yes. So
yeah,
yes.
Perfect.
Yeah, so this is Jim. Jim won an Emmy Award last year for outstanding special visual effects in a supporting role for his work on Vikings. Yes. He's nominated again this year for a new category, I believe.
Yeah, it's for best episode.
Best episode.
Yeah.
Best episode. Is that what it's called? Because I feel like the title is longer. You don't know.
Yeah, the title is longer. I guess I should know what it is. I'll tell you in one sec. Outstanding special visual effects in a supporting role, but then it's changed. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Outstanding special visual effects in a single episode.
So you were right, basically. Best episode.
Yeah.
Ace and Rex, hello. Happy Crimson Tuesday. Ronald Drexler. Is Dan also a guest or furniture? No, Dan is not here tonight. I think Dan said that he'll be on next week. We're going to do something next week. Yes, Dan has never been a guest on stream, actually, which is true and very strange of a piece of trivia. Hey, Tom, aka Satnav, good to see you. We're getting ready for work. Have a good day with work, and good. Thanks for dropping by. Yeah, so yeah, Emmy winner, Emmy nominated. If we ask nicely, maybe he'll bring the trophy in a little bit to show on stream.
Sure. The funny thing is the single episode category. So there's the grand category, which is for visual effects for television. They're usually, in a lot of cases, the main category tends to be like these powerhouse visual effects companies that they farm out a lot of their visual effects. So like Game of Thrones, for instance, they would have like 10 to 15 different visual effects houses working on the shows. So it's actually kind of nice to actually have this new category, because I remember a lot of the time looking at like Vikings, which I've been working on for the past like 7 years, how we'd have great shots in this episode and this episode and this episode. Not every episode would be super visual effects episodes. So you kind of wished you could combine a bunch of episodes together to show what we could actually do. So in this case, it's kind of fortuitous because I think the one that was chosen for this year's Emmys has a lot of great variation and some pretty decent visual effects, I think.
Yeah, and the sea monster.
And a sea monster.
A tasteful sea monster.
Very very subtle as far as I'm concerned, artful. I had nothing to do with the sea monster, but it looks so it's easy to say it looks amazing.
Good. Well then, yeah, sure, why not? And I think it does. Are we talking CG effects or also practical effects? Maximus wants to know.
Practical effects. If you ever see special effects, the term special effects, that's always on-set practical effects.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Huh. So visual effects is always post-production. Now it's digital, so it's offset essentially. But some of the Harry Potter movies, actually, they still did a lot of practical special visual effects, like a lot of kind of magic tricks and stuff like that, and then they blend it with CG afterwards.
Okay, so is there a different category then for special effects in the Emmys?
Yeah, I can't remember what it's called. Let me see.
It's not called special effects?
Oh, I see what you're saying. No, I don't think so.
Is it called practical effects?
You know what? I don't actually even know. Special effects Emmy nominations. No, it's all visual effects. Strange. Special visual effects, but special effects are always, practical on set.
Okay.
Yeah. So I don't know if I've never actually looked that up, because I've never actually worked in special effects before. But
is that something you were ever interested in doing?
Yeah, because I love the practical side. So, it would be like a lot of it would be pyrotechnics and, breakaway pieces of set and things like that. Like controlled explosions. I think if you look at Indiana Jones movies or any other movies where there's like a fire going on in a building, there are always these these pipes that they bring in, and they flame up like these vertical jets of fire. And if you place them correctly, they look amazing. Mm-hmm. But if you sometimes you can spot that, that's just like a fire rig. They just place in the foreground and then one in the midground and one in the background. So.
And we have our first question. Video 1990X says, "Hey Jim, what's a somewhat obscure special effect you love in a film? Maybe a less talked about one you feel you may be the biggest fan of."
Wow. Oh God, I don't know. Somewhat obscure special effect. And you mean special effect, not visual effect.
Deluxe Text has a friend who has a lifelong dream to be squibbed. It would be fun to do that.
Sure. Yeah, that'd be really cool. Force perspective stuff is amazing. There's this force perspective shot in The Abyss, the James Cameron film. And it's like a top-down shot where they're dropping the submersible, into the water. And it's all a forced perspective shot. So you have this big bay where the water is. So you have their underwater sea base thing. And they have this, it looks like a tank, but it's actually going below, the whole system, the whole ship thing, underwater base that they have. And they set up a model and had a camera pointing. I don't know I'm doing that right. Okay. So they have a camera pointing. And so you see, I'm trying to use it.
Yes, good. I can see that. That's amazing.
So it's like you see it top down, and what they did. So let's say that's the tank. You have this model, this scale model that's closer to camera, but it lines up with the perimeter of the tank, and they drop this model submersible in, and it's just flawless because it's all lit under the same lighting conditions, and it's. Yeah, I think it's my favorite practical effect of all time. Yeah, it's amazing.
Nice. And do those perspective shots, Maximus wants to know, require a super special lens not to give them away?
Yeah, I think so. I don't really know. I've never shot anything I've shot photos and stuff like that, but I've never shot any model work or anything like that in film or on set or anything like that. So for some reason, I'm gonna guess that a lot of them could be telephoto lenses because you don't get any distortion. So things need to line up. With a telephoto lens, it flattens everything out. Mm-hmm. Whereas if you were to use a very wide lens, things start getting pinched on the corners of the film frame and distorted there. So Whereas a telephoto lens is always just flattens things out.
Just impulses. I can't believe the worlds of RLM and the Crimson Diamond are colliding.
RLM.
Yeah, yeah,
Right.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I'm wondering how many people here are into RLM. But yeah, Jim's been on there with Best of the Worst and reviews and things like that.
Hmm.
But yeah, so yeah, you've got I haven't even finished your introduction, so I can tell that we're not going to run out of things to talk about, which is
Sure.
wonderful. But yeah. So we talked about your work on Vikings.
Yeah.
You've been on RLM. You're actually working on your own project right now, which I'm sure we're going to get around to talking about.
Yeah. Sure.
But also, and kind of the reason that you're a special guest today is you've beta tested the Crimson Diamond, you've played the
I have.
demo of the Crimson
Yeah.
Diamond. So I'm really gonna be interested to hear what you have to say about that in a very non-spoilery way.
For
Um,
sure. Yeah.
but I guess for people here, for the most part, we're all like computer game people, adventure game people, and
Hmm.
I think that's kind of where I want to start with it. I want to
Yeah.
start with from the very beginning. What were your first computer games? What were your first computers that you had, and
Yeah.
favorite games, things like that. Yeah.
I had like there were families that had like I always it wasn't a class thing. I think it was more like family priorities, maybe what they thought were important.
Hmm.
But so this is 1980s. I had a VIC 20, and a lot of families had a Commodore 64. So I'd always go over to friends' houses who had Commodore 64s because the graphics
Hmm.
were 64-bit. So it was like such a big leap from like VIC 20 graphics. But the VIC 20 was, I mean, I loved it. Like there were a lot of things to love. The little cassette deck that you could actually put in a cassette.
Yes, I had that too. Two
Yeah,
kilobytes of memory.
exactly. And you press play with that.
Yes.
But also I just love the design of the cartridges.
Hmm.
And how they just, something I sort of feel like maybe a lot of generations these days don't have as much appreciation for is like tactile physical objects,
Sure,
right?
media.
So
Yeah.
whether it's like vinyl records or cassette tapes or even CDs, but like the VIC 20 cartridge, I love the design. It's so
Mhm.
simple, and then you just like, plug it in, and the feeling of like plugging it in, and the game's about to start and everything, and make sure you have it pushed in all the way. And
Yes.
it's just so nice. So that the games that I loved, just basically video games, were like Gorf, Cosmic Cruncher, Amok, which was this sort of hallway shooting game where you're fighting robots. Eventually, Pikes Peak, where I don't know how they did it. They were able to extend the graphics component, so the graphics were a lot better. I don't know how they did it. I'm not the right person to ask for that. But I'd say the games that I loved the most were the Scott Adams adventure games.
Mhm.
So you had like Pirate Cove, The Count, Adventureland, and like the artwork of that was so. I just tweeted about it because
Mhm.
I love the artwork in those games, because when you're dealing with literally no graphics and you have just a text adventure, you as a child, or at least me, like whatever 12, 13, I was like leaning on the artwork.
Oh, sure.
Especially being like artistic and everything else, I'm leaning on the artwork to get some kind of context for the game, right?
Right.
But still, I had enough imagination to really love playing that stuff. And I think eventually you'd get into things like Zork, text adventure
Mhm.
games for like the Commodore 64, and I guess eventually Pentiums and stuff like that. But to me, like the Scott Adams adventure games for the VIC 20 were basically an extension of choose your own adventure books,
Right.
which I loved. And again, sort of same thing. Like the artwork on the cover of those books was amazing. You had the option to change the story or move the story along however you wanted within limited parameters. And then I came across, and I have all this I can show you images of this in slideshows, but I came across the Osborne programming books, computer
Mhm,
programming books. And they were amazing, but I could never get it to work.
Me either.
So, I'd spend like 3 days coding this entire thing and going through every single character, making sure, I didn't screw it up. And then in the end, like, no, it's not working. So I just look at the book because it had nice artwork.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, it wasn't even just the game covers. It was also inside, like the manuals and stuff. They would have artwork, and that's what you would go off of, and
Yeah,
that's all your mind got to have, and you just expanded and expanded from that as much as possible.
for
Um,
sure.
yeah, Deluxe Texas, even the tactile stuff is delivered to your door now. There's a special feeling carrying it home from the store.
Yeah.
Yeah, I loved getting stuff like we would get maybe one or two legitimate, I say legitimate, actual computer games a year. You know, one would be Christmas, one
Wow.
would be my birthday, and every other game we got into the house were bootlegs from friends and from my dad's office. I don't know if you've had a similar experience like that, or is it just, my family and everyone else's family?
Maybe I get most of my games from Toys R Us.
Okay.
They had a really good selection, and then like I'd be done with the game, and I'd be like, "Can I return this?" They'd be like, "Yeah, whatever." So they return
Really?
the game. Yeah, and I just exchange it for another one. They were
Oh,
fine with
wow.
it.
Holy
Yeah,
cow.
yeah, and
Wow.
the same guy would recognize me and be like, "Yeah, no problem. Here you go."
I wonder if he would do the return and then he would just take it home or something to
Maybe,
resell it
maybe
because you
you
can't
never know.
resell it
It's
probably.
Toys R Us employees. Um, but
Interesting.
yeah, I mean, so yeah, I never got into like programming with Vic 20 beyond the Osborne books, but
Hmm.
yeah, there was a game called Cosmic Cruncher, which was the Commodore symbol, the
Hmm.
Commodore
Okay,
logo,
yes, yeah.
and it was basically just a Pac-Man ripoff, and it would go all around the board.
Jeez.
And Gorf was amazing. Like I think Gorf was an actual arcade video game, and
Oh, wow. I've never actually played Gorf myself.
it was really good. I mean, the Vic 20 version was actually
Huh.
really good
Did you
for
have
what.
the Vic 20 joystick?
Yes, yes, I did. I loved it.
I
Yeah,
I remember it so vividly. And it's so funny to be so attached to these peripherals.
for
I
sure.
think I
Yeah.
have it in a box somewhere still.
Oh wow, you should
Yeah.
bring it out on your stream.
I should. I gotta dig all that stuff out.
Yeah.
Yeah, game video 1990X game manuals are truly a lost art. I used to reread them over and over as well when I
Mm,
wasn't playing, and now we get a PDF if you're lucky, or you
yeah.
just go to a website and there's a link and you've got all the information.
Yeah.
I do have for the Crimson Diamond, I do have a PDF of the manual, although I would love to just get it like a laser black and white print of
Yeah,
that done.
you should. That'd
Just
be awesome.
so much fun. Just the idea of selling it in a Ziploc bag, just like old school Ziploc bag, like a USB key that looks like a floppy disk, and it's the black and white printed manual. Super
Yeah.
super nice. Justin Paul asks if Jim, have you kept up with video games? Like, what's the most modern game you've played?
Outside of the Crimson Diamond, you mean?
Yeah. Well, we're gonna
Um,
talk. That's gonna be a whole other thing we're
yeah,
gonna
yeah,
discuss.
yeah.
But yeah, aside from that,
I'd say like Thimbleweed Park,
yeah.
and then I played a bit of the Dolores game that came afterwards. But I was just kind of like, the thing with me and video games is because I'm always, outside of work, I'm always trying to draw or paint or whatever, or read. If I play video games, I start feeling really strangely guilty that I'm spending a lot of time doing that. Meanwhile, I'll be watching garbage television. But because video games are so much of an investment, especially when you have something, especially nowadays
Right.
with like, um, I don't know, like Death Stranding, and I
Yeah.
don't know, these 60-hour
Yeah,
sort of
60,
games.
100 plus hour
Yeah.
games. Yeah.
And I don't have a PlayStation or anything like that
Mhm.
either. But no, Thimbleweed Park, like I loved it, and I was on vacation in Florida and played it almost the whole time because I'm not like a huge fan of the sun because I just burn. So I was sitting inside like in Florida in an air conditioned like rental place, playing like Thimbleweed Park every day, and just loved it. Like the music was really cool. There was some stuff in the game that annoyed me here and there. But some of the characters, maybe too many characters. But the problem solving aspect I loved, and again, it reminded me of the old LucasArts games.
Right.
And
Yeah. Speaking of, did you play more LucasArts games, and I'm assuming, than Sierra games?
yes, yeah, like I never played King's Quest or any of that. Like the LucasArts games I played were. Um, so Maniac Mansion would have been the first one. Oh no, the first one would have been Leisure Suit Larry, which I think is kind of like in the same genre, right?
Yeah, that's a Sierra game for sure.
Yeah. Oh, so it's the only Sierra game. It was like my friend Mike had an Amiga, I think, at the time,
Mhm.
or it was either a C64 or an Amiga. He also had what he referred to as the Trash 80, which is the TRS 80,
Oh, no.
like the I guess a Radio Shack Tandy computer, and we'd play on it and it would always crash. But so anyway, we played Leisure Suit Larry, and the nice thing about it was, like most video games you'd play when you're like a preteen or mid-teenager, you know, they're pretty like innocent for the most part and just sort of like fun, like, you know, like cabinet arcades, you know, in shopping malls. Like all those games are pretty like safe. But Leisure Suit Larry was like super sleazy, and his whole like, you know, his whole end game was to like sleep with someone or whatever.
Yeah.
So we kind of enjoyed the fact that like, well, this is really different, you know, and he's going in a bar, and we weren't old enough to drink
Sure.
at that point. And actually, I put in a note. There's like a thing on the at the start of the game that says, oh, what is it? Sorry. Leisure Suit Larry contains some elements of plot which may not be considered appropriate for children. So that's what it says at the start of the game. And so it was a lot of fun. It was the first time I'd ever played anything like that. But the thing is, the cut between, so he's in the bar and he walks to the hallway that leads to the bathroom. For him to like walk to the hallway from the bar, it's like a 4-second wait. And then to be in that hallway to go into the bathroom, it's another 4-second wait.
To load.
And it's painful. It was
Wow.
so long. But you know, it was humorous and kind of lame, you know,
Sure.
but so that was the first experience. Then Maniac Mansion, which I absolutely loved, which was great and terrifying in a way. Like it was kind of nerdy humor that I really liked. Like it was the kind of humor of the era, I think, which I think would now be referred to as like dad humor. But it's like it reminded me of, you know, kind of Gary Larson Far Side sort of humor. Like it felt like that sort of same era of tone or whatever. And the characters were really cool. There were really some really scary scenes, and again, I can show, like, I grabbed some screens that I remembered. You know, and you never, you know, I've heard a lot of people talking about this with Thimbleweed Park, and I think you talked about it on your stream that, you know, the game you're creating is like it's like sort of building on the nostalgia of those games, but doesn't necessarily look like those games actually were.
Yes.
In a way.
Yeah.
You know, like you remember things differently because you added up differently in your memory and in your conscience. But yeah, if I look back at Maniac Mansion, it looks, you know, a little more not amateurish, but just very simplified from you know, the memories that you put
sure
onto it.
Yeah. Maximus asked, how did you pass the age test in Leisure Suit Larry? At the beginning of those Leisure Suit Larry games, there'd always be
just type in like 31, you know, how old are you? 31 or, you know, 1960 or
trial
whatever.
and error, brute force type of thing. Yeah.
But so yeah, in Maniac Mansion, I remember had this part in the basement where like you could get stuck in the game and the game would just, you can't get out. And it's just, it would make me so angry. So, you know, it was good. It made me laugh, made me really happy. It made me angry, you know, and then there were moments where like I was just terrified, like a character is chasing you.
It's really scary. It's somehow terrifying. Yes.
And those characters are terrifying, like the blue, like dead kind of thing. Yeah, Edna, and it's just, and all the blood on the wall, and just like all the, it's so, you know, it's just simple pixelated characters. And actually, Jack in your game reminds me a bit of the this character. Like I'm like just waiting for Jack to like chase me out of a room.
I should do that.
Yeah.
Just getting ideas. I listened to Jamie Benning's Filmumentary's podcast episode with you, and you mentioned that you had a contract at Industrial Light and Magic, which, you know, LucasArts, Industrial Light and Magic, Lucasfilm. And I guess I would just want to know if you got a chance to visit actual LucasArts offices while you had your contract there.
One of the things I used to do, which I don't know, like I'd be waiting for something to render or waiting for someone's help when they were on lunch because they had their own proprietary software. So I just wandered around the hallways and like I'd wander to payroll because R2D2 was there. There was like an actual R2D2 just standing by the wall or sitting by the wall.
One that was used in the films?
I think so, yeah. Or just like a background prop that didn't move. And there was a TIE fighter, like an actual TIE fighter in plexiglass. And just different, like one of the melting faces from Last Crusade of Walter Donovan at the end.
Cool.
One of the props was like, yeah. So I just wandered around, and I wandered through LucasArts, but they were like on the verge of shutting down.
Right.
So this was in the Presidio at the Letterman Digital Arts Center in San Francisco. And I just remember a lot of dark rooms with like sort of Christmas lights and LED lights hanging from the ceiling, and computers. I mean, this is typical of any visual effects place, I guess, whether it's like for film, television, or games. But they'd have like tons of toys all over their computers.
Sure, absolutely.
And I want to say the dish from Star Trek: The Undiscovered Country was hanging on the wall, but I could be wrong.
The saucer section.
The saucer set. What did I say?
The dish?
The dish, yeah, sure.
You're not a Star Trek person.
The dish is at the front of the Enterprise, so you're right.
The dish at the front of the Enterprise.
Collector dish or whatever, yeah. So it's so it was like up against a wall, and it was just this massive, like 8-foot radius dish of the Enterprise from Undiscovered Country. But I could be wrong. Someone might say no, actually that was in the, I don't know, render farm room or something. But yeah.
Let's see here. So we covered recent games, and I guess what I want to know is when you talk about games you played when you were younger and games you've played recently now, they're mostly adventure games, and I guess I want to ask, was that kind of the genre you gravitated toward, and if so, why do you feel adventure games were the ones you liked the most?
Yeah, I think so, because they're probably, like, I liked reading a lot as a kid, and I think they're the most like reading.
100%. Yeah.
I mean, you're playing with graphics, but the graphics are somewhat limited. You're focused more on problem solving than, I don't know, kicking someone's ass or like
right.
killing someone with a gun.
Right.
I don't know.
Right.
So yeah, it that appeals to me more. And what always appealed to me more was getting to the next level versus the amount of points you had. So, the thing about something like Pac-Man that interested me more was what's the next fruit that's going to bounce
sure.
screen, as opposed to like, oh my God, you have the highest score out of anyone in the arcade or whatever. Mm-hmm. And so it was always getting to that next level. And I remember friends would be more concerned about points because you could put your point score and that would be highlighted. I mean, that's more in arcades and stuff like that. But yeah, so yeah, I'd feel like if it was like a shoot 'em up game or something like that, I just wouldn't understand why, like, I don't know, like I couldn't get aggression out that way, or like, decompress by doing that. I decompress by trying to solve puzzles, I guess, like I love Scrabble. I love chess and things like that. So, those are more stimulating to me than the average video game. And also I don't feel as guilty playing a problem solving game.
It feels like, you feel like you're using your brain.
I think so.
I think a lot of people who play adventure games feel the same way. And when I was a kid, I was the same. I loved reading, and action games were not really my thing. I never really cultivated that eye-hand coordination, dexterity for video games.
Yeah.
But adventure games were nice because they were more patient games, and they were, I could set my own pace and things like that. And so, I mean, making the Crimson Diamond, I just wanted something that you can kind of consume at your own pace, like a book, and you don't really have to worry about, being chased across the screen. Although that's funny if I say being chased across the screen, because that does happen in adventure games, but just in a more controlled manner. Yeah,
just pressing the arrow keys as fast as you can.
Yeah.
It's funny what you were saying about controllers, because what did you say that you did you say something about dexterity or?
Yeah, just the eye-hand coordination.
Eye-hand coordination. Yeah. So like, I would be one of those people playing, and my friends never did this, but I'd be one of those people playing with the controller and I'd lift it up in the air. Do you know what I mean? Because I'm freaking out trying to.
Right. Yeah. So. Yes, absolutely. Or pressing buttons harder, thinking that will make you go faster, or it'll make you shoot more or something. But yeah, Deluxe Talks actually has a really good question about, people in terms of people who loved adventure games as kids. Is there anyone here in chat who hated reading when they were younger, but also liked adventure games? I don't know if that's even possible, considering how much reading there was in those games. So that's actually kind of interesting to think of. Is anyone in chat who likes adventure games who hated reading? If that's possible, I would like to know. But I guess so. Most of those games, like the LucasArts games, were mostly kind of point-and-click adventure games, and I think maybe the Leisure Suit Larry game you played was text parser potentially. If it was an earlier one, especially if it was on a Commodore or an
It's
Amiga.
very hard. It's very hard on the eyes. I'll show you. I'll show you a screen grab at some point.
For sure. I guess the Crimson Diamond is a text parser game. So I guess my question is, so being more used to point-and-click adventure games, how did you feel about the text parser? I mean, I know you played Zork and things like that.
Yeah.
But how was your experience with the text parser overall, and specifically for the one that you played in the Crimson Diamond?
It's fine. I have moments of frustration where, I'll try to do actions and it won't let me because I can't use such and such a word or such an action in the game. But I'm always looking for hints. I'm always looking for something that stands out slightly obvious because, like we'll get to it, but, I'm writing a middle grade children's book.
Right.
And I guess the one thing that you're always trying to avoid is being too obvious about things, I guess. And so you're always trying to write maybe kind of in a sort of subtext, for people to figure out, because you also want to, and I'm sure you experienced this when you were making the game, you want to make it interactive for people, not make it too easy, not make it too challenging, but, make it challenging enough so it's still entertaining, but not insulting people.
Right.
You know what I mean? By making things too easy or, just making things too blatant or too much exposition, which I'm sure is possible.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yes. When you do your cutscenes, that you could have too much information.
Yes. Walls of text, what they're called. But yeah, did you find the Crimson Diamond demo or the beta to be particularly challenging?
Yeah. I mean, I found it. I mean, I'm trying to like talk about it without spoilers, right. But towards the end of the beta, there was one thing I just couldn't get past, and I kept having to, try different options until I got through it. Just comparing to Thimbleweed Park, one thing I liked but didn't like is you can use a phone, right. And it's like a hint phone, and you dial these numbers and they give you hints. And the problem with it is, what it does is it makes you reliant on it. Mm-hmm. So when you can't figure something out, it's just too easy to go and dial the number. And,
right.
Especially when you're thinking, well, I have to work. I want to finish this part of the game by, So, I mean, it was just challenging enough. I didn't breeze through it.
Okay.
I liked. There's enough to keep you occupied while you're trying to like problem solve.
Good.
Like
good.
Listening through the door.
Sure. No, because the thing is with the text parser, I know it's kind of a tough one to work with. So I did try to make everything as straightforward and as easy as possible, but that doesn't even mean much because I know it's just the level of challenge associated with that versus point and click. I know is just that much higher. So.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, I mean, from people beta tested, if they can kind of get through it for the most part, then I'm pretty pleased. Mm-hmm. And I always tell people that if their complaint is it's too easy, then I'll feel really good about myself. No one has said that yet, though.
Have you had people contact you asking for hints?
Well, testers sometimes will get stuck in places, and so I will give them hints, but sometimes they don't, which just probably means they probably just got stuck and like left it alone forever after that.
Right.
Because I don't think there's any real walkthrough online or anything like that.
Do you hear from people that play the beta and finish it and they say thank you, and do you get a lot of feedback that way?
I actually haven't sent the beta to very many people at all, just basically people I know and trust.
Sure.
But for the demo, I've had people contact me and say how much they enjoyed it and things like that. No one has told me that they are stuck with the demo though. And I don't know if it's because the demo is just a bit easier or because there are a lot of, like, not a lot, but a relative amount of Let's Plays on YouTube and things people can look up, and if they get stuck, they can see what they need to do.
Right.
But no, the feedback's been pretty good.
And that's something you'd have to monitor too, I guess.
Yeah, I don't really, that's the thing, because it's tough. making the game basically myself, although of course Dan is working on the music. It's kind of tough to get beta testers because there's Dan, who actually I don't even think Dan has beta tested anything, which I got to get him on. I got to get him beta testing it. But just a matter of you just have to ask people, like people from other people from the adventure game studio community and other people that you kind of trust not to like spread it around and stuff.
Yeah.
But that's kind of the most difficult part, is getting the testing done, unfortunately.
I was going to ask, when you were in school, what school computers did you have?
We had Apple II, so that would be no, Apple II, was it? Those are the ones with the green screen.
No, those are pets. Those are pet computers.
Pet computers. Some kind of weird. We had Apple computers at some point. I mean, that was like in grade school. In college, we had Apple computers again, like Macs and things like that. Right. And I was always a staunch PC person, so I would need to get like a zip drive and zip disks to move stuff back and forth, because they were compatible with both, and because I didn't want like an Apple computer ever.
We had the pet computers, so the green on black, and they had Zork on them, but we also had the Unisys Icon computers, which were the first color computers, and I think they're Canadian.
No way.
Yeah, and they had Oregon Trail on them. Most people have heard of Oregon Trail, like the most boring game in the world, for history class.
It's very educational.
Yeah, exactly. Sorry, that's what I meant.
Yeah, that's what you meant.
But every time I went up to it, and I had a trackball instead of a mouse, every time I went up to it, I'd do one action, and it would say error, not working or something like that. So I leave it alone. Yeah.
Unisys, I gotta write that down. Unisys Icon.
Yeah, it was like the Ontario Ministry of Health, of Education.
Amazing.
That brought them in, yeah. So I'm wondering if they're actually Canadian-built computers.
My gosh. Fantastic. I was just catching up on some chat, and it looks like some people, we have people who got into adventure games later, who only liked reading if it was something they enjoyed when they were kids. So, kind of a bit of a broad spectrum of people who were interested in reading or not as much. So let's see. I'm just checking my notes to make sure I haven't forgotten to ask you anything about the computer game stuff. Yeah. Did you want to show any favorite game art?
Sure.
Pieces.
Yeah. Hopefully this works.
Hopefully this works. That's the mantra that I have every day of my life when I'm working on the Crimson Diamond.
Favorite game, like I have like a little slide thing of like favorite game art, but then. Adventure games, so maybe I'll do favorite game art first.
Sure, absolutely.
That's okay.
I'm so excited to see this.
Yeah, I mean, there's not a lot in here, but it's working. Sorry, one sec. Oh, is that it? I'm looking for the open with. Hang on a sec.
Oh, I see Eating With popped in and out. I hope to catch you again, Eating With, when you're back when you're non-remote. Okay. Oh, Leisure Suit Larry 7 people were enjoying, and I haven't played that one. Huh.
Which one?
Leisure Suit Larry 7. It's up to 7.
Oh, wow. Wow. So I'm going to try to share my screen.
Okay. Well, we'll see if this works or not.
All right.
Oh, Deluxe Talks also did not get into adventure games till 2018. James Dearden's Wajidai's Technobabble on. Wow, okay. Well, that's encouraging. Okay.
Is this working?
It is not working. It's so strange. That's
weird.
not. It's not working. I have no idea why. Huh. Okay, now. Okay, I see something now. Yes, I see the Commodore. The Vic. Adventureland. I love it too.
Yeah. It's like late sort of 70s, early 80s brown.
Oh, it's so good.
But it's beautiful. And just like the fonts are great, like the Vic 1914.
Yes.
So I got a shirt made with the logo, but with no title on it, just because I love those arrows. It's colors.
Really beautiful. I have cartridges like this. I actually do think I have Adventureland. I like how it says, don't forget to type SYS32592 and hit the return key to start your adventure. Like, it could be a little bit easier, you'd think.
Yeah, for sure.
Because I would easily forget to type exactly that to start my adventure.
The other thing about Adventureland is I remember on the box it said, because you come across the dragon, right?
Mm-hmm.
And on the back of the box it says "Wake Dragon," like as an
Right.
example you use to try to
God.
do something in the game. So everyone tries Wake Dragon, and it does nothing. But anyway, so yeah, there's a whole bunch of them.
Oh my God.
There's one that pops up on the internet, but like when you type in images for Commodore VIC-20, and it's called Clowns, and it just sounds so horrendous.
Clowns.
Yes, it's called Clowns. I've never seen it. I've never played it or anything. But anyway, so this is just part of the stuff that I like. But I'd say hands down, the best art is like Atari.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And they're just like the artwork, but also the fonts.
This is not even a rectangle as I'm looking at this Commodore cartridge. It's not a rectangle.
No?
No, it kind of curves in.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, you're right.
That's so strange.
Yeah, it's like it's bowed almost.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can you see the Atari cover?
Not yet. I guess I don't know if it's on some kind of strange delay or something.
It might be. Yeah.
And Deluxe Tech says even calling it the return key is a major throwback. That is true.
It's like my computer keyboard right now says enter, but it's fading. Like
Oh, sure.
all my letters and stuff are fading, and even the keyboard. Yeah, so I guess there's some kind of lag with the.
I don't know why that's not showing. I mean, can you re-screen share and maybe it'll show a new image or something? Ah, technology. Technology, so wonderful.
Is that it? You see it now?
Yes. Space Invaders video. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, isn't that beautiful? So simple.
Airbrush.
Yeah.
You could just see it's been masked out at the bottom of this.
No.
Oh, it's so good.
Like Frisket or masking tape or whatever.
Oh. Did you ever have the pleasure of using an airbrush?
I tried. I was terrible at it. I was so bad at it. And it was like I wanted to be like a traditional map painter. And it was like, nah, you really got to know how to learn how to use an airbrush. And I worked at the art supply store, and they had a whole airbrush counter and everything.
Sure.
And I think the whole like the generator, like the pump, everything, all the pressure, it just made me really nervous because it just seemed so hard to control, like like a fire hose or something going off.
Absolutely. Just like any other person who first learned to use the airbrush, one of our first projects in high school was to make chrome. The chrome effects,
of course. Or cherries, right? Cherries, all the like reflective light on them.
Oh, it's so awesome. It's a fun tool, but it's so hard to control, and I would always like use too much overspray or whatever. Yes, for beautiful hand-painted cover to 160 by 100 resolution. These are great. There is a book of these, and I did want this book. Of all the amazing illustrations they would have. Yeah,
they're just
oh my gosh, calculator. That's so inspirational.
So this style, I don't know what it is, but I love it. And I think basically it's like a really fast sort of commercial art. Let me go back to that. Like really quick commercial art where I feel like they're using a slide projector.
Yep.
Some kind of projector, they're tracing it out and then painting it. I mean, that's kind of how Drew Struzan does a lot of his covers. But just the textural quality. This was a real style back then.
I love it. He's holding a MacBook Air. Like the guy looks like he's holding like that folder. It could be a laptop like we have now.
Could be. Or it's a clipboard.
It's beautiful. Yeah, and I'm just looking at the actual type they have, and then there's the reverse on the left hand side where I don't know how we would do. Do you think he did that by hand? No.
Which part?
The one that says print 10.00 and then the 3 asterisks.
Yeah, it could be painted.
Oh no.
The 255 and 635 on the left side look a little awkward. I love it though.
This style is very, very awesome.
Yeah, I love it.
And I see a little signature there too as well. Like this guy there's an original of this somewhere.
I know. I want to find all this stuff. I want to find all the Choose Your Own Adventure book covers too.
Yeah, just like Dungeons and Dragons, it felt like this cover art was jumping off point to get your imagination ready to fill the blanks in while playing or calculating or doing calculations.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Yeah.
Slot racers.
I almost wonder if it was in their mind that like they were like, this art needs to really, broaden the player's senses or something because we know the graphics aren't very good.
They can't
but
be very good.
No.
No.
So let
That
me
is
stop.
wonderful.
Screen sharing is stop. Good.
Fantastic. Oh,
Um,
but so, yeah, you mentioned that you are working on a children's book.
I am, yeah.
And you mentioned that adventure games are some kind of something that you really were into because you like the stories and the settings and things. And
Hmm.
I guess, did that inspire or influence your book at all?
Yeah,
These two
totally.
adventure games.
It's I think as I was writing it, because it's finished, I'm revising it right now and doing
Ooh.
illustrations for it. It's a middle grade children's book, which is like 9 to sort of 14, or however old people, old people, whatever. People in their 20s, 30s, 40s read Harry Potter, so
Exactly.
or any other kids book. But as I was writing it, because it's based around like what you could imagine is the tallest school in the world. It's got like 140 different stories to it, and that the two main characters are being pursued and they're constantly going from level to level. And I was like, this is exactly like all the computer games that I loved when I was a kid.
Hmm.
and it's all problem solving, and it's there is that aspect to it, and then doing the artwork for it as well, and just sort of combining all those things that I loved. But yeah, it's so is that, I mean, it's also a bit of choose your own adventure books mixed with text adventure that I played. And again, like Maniac Mansion, Zak McKracken, those kind of games that, like, what's through this doorway,
Sure.
what is, how do we get to that place we keep hearing about, and there is an end goal and you're trying to get there, but you don't know how to get there, so you're wandering through hallways, or and it's just, and I've had recurring dreams, and I think that inspired the kids book as well, where I'm in a big huge facility and I'm walking from room to room to room to room to try to find something,
Right.
and in the dream I'm always being pursued, right, which are the best stories.
That is very adventure game like.
Yeah.
Just exploring and trying to find new places to go.
And doors being locked,
Yeah.
or being able to get through doors, or doors being locked, or having keys to get
Yep.
through certain doors, and those keys won't open other doors, and that's just like common throughout all gaming history.
Right. Well, how long have you been working on the book?
I don't want to say.
See, if people ask me, and I never want to say, I'll say if you say, because I've been working on the Crimson Diamond from. No, we're not going to say.
No, don't say
okay,
it.
fine.
Don't.
I'm not going to say. Everyone knows anyway.
Well, I mean, it's like within a decade.
That's fine.
Yeah, I'm not going to say how long. It's funny because I actually brought this out because this is like, I have 3 of these, and it's a moleskin little.
Right. Oh, great.
It's got all the ideas for the story. So the book is like 60,000. It was 66,000 words, and I revised it down to 60,000 words.
Huh.
And I need to trim it some more.
So look at this! I love this. I love stuff like this.
More illustrations.
Yeah, notes and things.
Just like rough illustrations for like the final. And this thing here plays.
Yes, amazing.
Part. So I can show like a slideshow of that stuff if you want.
For sure.
Do that,
Absolutely.
And hopefully the screen share works.
I've been working on the Crimson Diamond longer than you've been writing your story. I think it's pretty fair.
I don't know about that. I wonder.
Well, we're never gonna know because I'm not gonna. Well, I think people in chat know about how long I've been working on Crimson Diamond, but
right.
We don't have to address it because I don't know why it shouldn't be embarrassing, because there's no time limit, especially when you're working on your own project.
That's true. Yeah,
and
it's not the only thing you're doing. I imagine.
No,
like
of course not.
You've got other things.
Of course not.
Are priorities and things, but
I'd love to see examples of the illustrations and things. And
yeah, sure.
For the Crimson Diamond, I put in a lot of stuff that I was interested in as well, just in terms of subject matter. And so it's nice to know that you're kind of doing the same thing with what you're doing.
Completely, yeah. I mean, it really is like a computer game, like a like old school computer game. Like the vibe of it feels so similar. I don't think you'd necessarily get that from the illustrations. It's all black and white. They're done in Conte. Actually, the first one is done in pencil, and then I moved to Conte. But I'll show you these. And
Stream regular Cosmic Void's partner for The Corruption Within has also published several children's books. Most recently, one called Chloe and the Cherry Tomato. I'm gonna write that down.
Cool.
Chloe and the Cherry Tomato. Awesome.
I like cherry tomatoes.
Yeah, I love cherry tomatoes.
Okay, so here we go.
Let's see if this works again.
Yeah, so. Oops. Share screen. Is it working? I don't know.
It is not working yet.
Okay. So maybe there's a buffer. Oh, let me try it again. Sorry. One sec.
Anna, welcome back to stream, Anna. Anna CGG are my very first special guest. Still working, can't chat, but this is fascinating. Thank you. She says hi to Jim. She says hi to me. Listening while you sand. Miss y'all in chat. Yeah, Anna's a wonderful cabinet worker, woodworker. Oh, there we go. Yeah, can see now. Fantastic. Dave Seaman. Okay, I read something.
This is the first illustration I did. I did it in pencil, and I switched from pencil to Conte because just like standard pencil, even the best, like Staedtler Mars or Derwent, like the really good ones, as good as they are and as black as you can get them with like a 9B pencil,
whoa,
they're so reflective.
Right.
So to even get a good facsimile of it, like a photograph of it, the light has to be so dead that you're getting zero reflection. So anyway, so this is the first, and this is probably in the first chapter.
Yeah, I can't believe that's pencil for how dark it is. I mean, did you have to photograph it under like a lower lighting condition, like you said, and then kind of up the contrast in Photoshop later?
I actually got someone to photograph it because I don't have a proper SLR. So yeah, I don't think I ramped anything like with the contrast or brought it into Photoshop or anything.
Mouse is requesting a zoom in, I guess, for detail.
Oh, can I do that?
You can do it with on the left hand, far left hand side is the magnifying glass with the plus on it.
Far left hand side, right hand side.
Along the bottom.
Oh, there we go. There we go. Yeah. Along the bottom on.
On the left hand side is the magnifying glass with the drop down triangle.
Oh, not that. Far left hand side?
Yeah, yeah. So along the bottom, underneath the picture itself,
is
magnifying glass and a couple other things, and like the advance and go back symbols, and
I've only got like remote control, annotate.
Oh.
So I think I might have something.
Huh.
If let me see if I. No, that doesn't work.
Control and plus video 19.
Yeah, I just tried that. Yeah.
Sometimes with a picture viewer, like the scroll wheel will do stuff. But
yeah, I'm using this.
Oh no, okay, that's not.
Yeah, sorry.
Captain Disaster Adventure Games. Okay.
Yeah. Oops. Anyway, so.
M. Lady D. Winter says, having spent years working in school libraries, I wish we had books like this to offer. Perfect.
That's nice. Thank you. I don't know if you can see my cursor.
No.
Oh, okay. Well, anyway, up on the top left branch, like I based these on photographs that I was looking at my window of trees, and there was a bird on the tree, and I didn't realize till after I was drawing that there was an actual bird sitting in the tree, so I kept it there.
Amazing.
Weathering the storm. So that's the first one. Here's the second one. And this is based in a building. So this is the school.
Oh, we're not seeing it yet. I don't know why it's not. Things work or don't work for no reason.
Yes, there's lag.
Okay, so that's.
Oh, it says screen sharing is paused.
Oh.
Here, let me try that. See if that works.
Captain Disaster Adventure Games, third in the series, has been soft announced. It's in the works. Other one is free on Steam and itch. Oh, Mousemus wants to know how many hours roughly did these take?
This one didn't. Oh, sorry. The one that you can't see didn't take long. It's so difficult to say because, like, you know, I do have like a sort of 8:30 to 6:30 job every day, and so some nights, you know, it'll be 2 hours. Some nights 1 hour. Some nights I'll work till 3 a.m. It's really tricky to say. You know, maybe like the next illustration I'll add up the time. But damn, I wish this wasn't. Sure. Oh, is that? No. Maybe I can stop and start again really quick.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
No rush at all.
Is this the one? You see that?
Yes, perfect. Oh my gosh.
Okay.
Yeah, perfect.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, this one, this is based on a building in Toronto called Commerce Court North, and it's actually, well, this is the school in the story that I've written about, and I built a model to draw from. So my high school art teacher was always saying, like, draw like if you're going to draw from something real. Don't draw from photographs. So it took me like 20 years to finally listen to him, and then actually start like building everything that I was going to draw from, because you get a better sense of the dimension, and because you've actually built it. When it comes to drawing it, you remember kind of tactile wise how everything feels, and so yeah. So they're being pursued. There's two kids on a ladder, like climbing up into sort of this vent, which is the mouth of the sculpture. Toronto's not known for like a lot of crazy cool architecture, but this building's so high up that you can barely even make out these giant stone heads.
Yeah, there's definitely there's a bunch of faces, Maximus, on the facade here. It's super. How much art training do you have? Art training and education?
I really focused on it in high school, and then when I got to, I went to the Ontario College of Art and Design, and dropped out after 4 months because I wanted to travel to Scotland, and I didn't like the school anyway. Then when I came back from Scotland, I did a degree in cultural studies, English lit, got my degree, and then started working in visual effects a few years after. And it was all based on portfolio. So I regret some things, like my perspective could be better, sense of depth, and I don't know, working with different materials. I wish I had more option, or like just more experience. So I've kind of had to learn the hard way, because a lot of it is self-taught. So it worked out, I guess.
You did. So you did art in high school, and then from the strength of the stuff you developed from high school and on your own, you got into the VFX industry.
Yeah, I mean, I did a lot. I did like, I don't know, 12 sort of Photoshop kind of concept design sort of paintings, and to fatten out my portfolio, because I didn't have a visual effects job. I wanted to be a map painter and concept artist, and needed to have something to show. And I guess they saw something that they liked, and and eventually, I started working in film and television and stuff like that. So
did you teach yourself Photoshop?
Yeah, I went to college in north of Toronto, and I hated it, and I dropped out and taught myself. Yeah.
Wow.
They just wouldn't teach me what I wanted, like, to know. Like, it was like a Photoshop course for people working in offices that needed to do really quick things. So the instructor would be going on talking about, you need to use this tool for this, and blah 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 blah. And while he was doing that, it was a picture of cars on the road.
Okay.
And I just suddenly started painting into the road and creating like a crevice, and like took one of the cars and started tilting it into the crevice, and just like, it was just obnoxious. I mean, I was just like, this is what I want to do. I don't want to learn about this stuff. I don't want to learn about, I don't know. There's so many bells and whistles in Photoshop that I don't even use, that I'm sure you don't even use.
Nope.
And so I just I can't remember what the question was, because I've been blabbing too much. But
just asking if you learned Photoshop on your own.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. How about you? You took it in college? Or?
Yes, yeah, I took. We had Photoshop in all 3 years, I think, of college. Yeah. Were
you happy with how it was being taught? Like, because I imagine you had a certain goal with it to learn it.
Yeah, I mean, ours was very much, very very much focused on art applications.
Okay.
Yeah, so I mean, I was very very happy with how I learned it, I believe. Yeah, and we, like realistic renderings and things like that in Photoshop, and even in Adobe Illustrator. So yeah.
Right.
Yeah, my college experience with art was actually I think it helped me a lot, and I don't think I would have. I don't know if I would have been motivated as you were to learn this as much of the stuff on my own.
Yeah.
Slash Studio says brilliant work.
Oh,
Anna,
thanks.
thank you so much for the resubscription. Super awesome. Oh, Video 1990X, as a former cartoon artist who recently discovered a love of drawing realism, are there any art styles or mediums you never thought you would like but ended up loving?
Conte, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what this is. And so I wanted to ask,
Yeah.
why Conte for these?
Because it's so black. It's so dark, and it's so soft and smooth. And when you can use burnishers. Let me see if I have one.
Yes, Gurnisov, this is the talking shit part of Photoshop portion of the stream where we complain. We complain and complain. No, I like Photoshop. You can't not.
No, Photoshop's great. I couldn't live without it.
Every day, day in and day out.
I mean, I swear at it now and again, and when it's my fault. But anyway, so like with Conte,
yes,
I use these burnishers, and they soften it out. And when the image is done, it's not reflective. So you can get a pretty decent photograph out of it. And so this illustration is actually it's from the same story. Actually, should I read the synopsis?
Yes, please do.
Really
Yes.
This is my elevator pitch.
Yes.
So the story is called City Central Elementary, The Disappearance of Mr. Orpheus. And the synopsis or elevator pitch is, Charlie and Margaret Riley's school is about to be closed down for good, and their teacher has disappeared. When handed a mysterious envelope with a note and key inside, they realize they can't refuse the dangerous mission that awaits them. So, I don't know. I'm writing stuff that I would have liked when I was, younger.
That's all. That's what it's all about, when people make games, books, anything really.
It's a story about two kids in their own school that need to solve a problem. They have a mission, and they have to get to a certain part of the school, and they're being pursued the whole time. And this image of all these pianos is, again, from a recurring dream that I had that I must have seen somewhere when I was a child. But so I built all these pianos. I didn't build as many pianos or in the illustration, but
so that's a photo of what you made.
So that's a photo of like the sort of set thing that I made.
Deluxe Talks says I aspire to be as cool as Jim.
Oh, that's really sweet.
Very true.
That's very cool of you to say. Thank you.
And then this is the Commerce Court North building.
Yeah. So and it's all made of cardstock, just cardstock and white glue, and some model pieces. I think the little people I probably hacked up and extended their arms and just did different things and put backpacks on the kids climbing the ladder.
Marcellus asks, do you feel like your best work is still ahead of you?
Ooh, that's really nice. Isn't that what rock stars always say? I think like our best album is the one that we're working on right now or whatever. I don't know. That's a scary thought. To think that I will do better as time goes on. I don't know. I hope so. I hope so. But yeah, I mean, you kind of assume so because you assume you're always learning, right? You're always continually aspiring to be better, right?
Yeah, I would.
I guess you'd never be like, I think this turned out really well. I think for the next 3, I'm gonna make them not so good because I'm really tired, or I don't know. But yeah, I totally I hope so.
Yeah.
So. What happens to the models when they're finished?
Yeah.
Well, they're in my storage locker and they're falling apart because whenever I park my bike, especially into this poor thing, when I bring my bike into the storage locker, the wheel tends to lean on.
Oh my gosh.
It's fine, I can glue it and fix it.
Nightmare. No.
Yeah. So here's the piano room thing. Yeah. So the gymnasium. So there's the image, and then so this is the sketch I did for it, just pen and a bit of pencil. Is it showing up?
Yes.
You can see this?
Yes.
And then a really rough pencil thing to kind of get the feel, the lighting and everything. And then here's the pianos. Actually, I have one here. They're pretty delicate, but they're not that delicate. I could probably drop it. And
you could probably drop it.
But,
ooh. So how many did you make?
100 and... No, not 100. Hold on. Oh, I think I made 50.
50.
Yeah, so I made 2 grand pianos.
Wow.
And and then made like 48, sorry, 48 uprights.
Yeah. Yeah, Massimo says that is nuts. That is dedication. Yes,
It's
true
insane.
dedication.
Yeah, I mean, it's like I don't know why I did it. I think there's like Kurosawa. This sounds pretentious, but there's this Kurosawa quote, and it's about like artists and just people generally who want to accomplish something. And the idea is it's like climbing a mountain. Like you don't look down and you don't look up towards your destination. You just like keep going. Like you just keep plodding along till you get to the top. Because I think the thing is, if you're looking too far ahead, you know, you can get disheartened at how far you have to go, right? So it's just this almost gentle focus of just, I don't know, you know, focusing on the here and now and just continuing along. So if I was going to build 50 upright pianos out of cardstock, I would just do it over and over again. Sorry.
Sorry. I'll take this opportunity to say hi to Fractal Mind Mike, who's an amazing streamer. Did a shout out. Played the Crimson Diamond demo on his stream out in Australia. And so I'm really pleased. Good to see you as always, Fractal Mind Mike. And let's see. Video 1990X is how do we order these little pianos?
What's that?
How do we order these little pianos?
Oh, that's I don't know. I don't know yet. I haven't figured that out. I'll let Julia know.
Sure.
Pass it on.
Sure. Whenever that happens, yeah, we'll announce that. Yeah, and Slash Studio says 100% agree with that philosophy. Focus on the work, not the past, not the future. And the thing is what's so wonderful about working on your own project outside of your own work that you do day to day is you set time aside to make 50 little pianos for your project
it's all process, right? Yeah. It's like, you know, it's like working on your game, like working on anything extracurricular outside of your job, where you just kind of do it. And that's like the big secret is you just sort of sit down and do it, whether you want to or not, you know. And like sometimes it sucks, sometimes it's great, you know. Like I'll have movies playing in the background while I do it, you know, or just like having something that puts me in a kind of comfort zone, and then I focus on this thing that I just do. But I also procrastinate way too much on everything, you know. It's just natural, I guess.
It is the wonderful thing. Oh, here we go. So it's just nice to be able to take that time where, you know, I kind of said before of doing freelance illustration, you know, there's a certain budget and there's a certain deadline, and you can only do as much as you can during that budget and deadline. But if you're doing it for yourself and there is no deadline, you have this luxury. I mean, it can be a bad thing because, you know, you can be prone to procrastinating, but there's a luxury where you can take that time to make something more than you could do if you were constrained by time and money.
I don't know about you, but I find that like if my schedule starts filling up, and I really want to work on something, like I really want to get this done and it's just taking too long. But if my schedule starts to like get really tight, like in everything in life, I can still find a way to, like, you know, squeeze in the time. Like you just adapt, right? You know, if the will is there to do it, you just squeeze that time in no matter what. If you have too much time, I think that's when the danger happens.
I see.
Like wasting things. I think having such a schedule kind of crunch in your life is inspiring to do that. Yeah, because suddenly it feels kind of like the thing that you really want to do that you're not necessarily making money on or whatever is like this rebellious thing. Right. So it's, I want to work on this because right now, say, I'm not saying this about my job because my job is good, like my regular day job, but it's almost like rebellious against that day job because when you're working on your own thing, you have that much more control. It's your story, it's your thing. So it's great to have that time, especially if, you know, your regular work is really stressful and then you have this thing that you do. It's kind of like you're in your own little world. And I don't know, I'm not explaining it as well as I'd like, but it's a really peaceful zone to be in, I guess.
Yeah, it's a retreat for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, Slash Studio says it'll work listening to podcasts and streams. Julia's streams get me working every time. That's wonderful to hear that you know you can work and listen. Anna says I have to stopping work to watch. Wow, what an amazing art in all media here. So it's funny because Slash Studio says the streams get him working, and Anna keeps stopping work to look at all the amazing art that Jim's doing. So we've got the balance of helping and not helping people to work. So
this is I won't give away too much of the story, but it's really cool that. So first of all, thanks for having me on, but also this is the first time I've, outside of like images on Twitter here and there, this is the first time I've actually shown this stuff in any kind of depth. So I want to thank you for letting me do this and talk about the book, because I really love working on this. But I won't give too much away. But this is like this sort of main object in the story. It's, I guess, the McGuffin in a way, or whatever that the story centers around. So it's a mantle clock. It's made out of cardstock. This is just a printed clock face with, I think it's a plastic Pokeball that I just cut out. It's just like found objects and stuff that I used to build this stuff. White glue is just amazing to work with. X-Acto knives, cardstock, like illustration board cardstock. Just like bending things into shape, taping them down with masking tape.
Oh my gosh.
Scissors and then trying to form like a bit of a skeleton, just so that when I do wrap that top around, it bends nicely and I can glue it down without it ripping apart. So that's it, getting there. And there's slots on the left and right side because there are things that are going to be placed in there. So there's the finished part. What was really cool was I had used this gold paint around the rim, which is from like a miso soup container. And then I glued, the hinge on and the little door handle, because these old clocks, you'd open them up and wind them. But I used gold paint, and then I used, and it looked okay, but then I used like a paint pen, like one of those real sort of gold colored ink paint pen things, and just went over it and brought out this really nice shine to it.
Yeah, it looks super metallic. Masumi says, I love like these drawings extend into the physical world, and that is super exciting to see too, how you do that.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, it's like, again, the idea of like building this stuff and then drawing from it, and then you have it in three-dimensional space, like you actually have the object that you're drawing. When it comes to like the big school gymnasium, I just had a big piece of Bristol board that I cut into and printed off images onto. So however I can do it on a good budget, but it's almost like building tiny little film sets.
Sure. And
then drawing from it for the illustration. So these are the two pieces that fit into the mantle clock. In the story, the stone on the left-hand side is quartz epidiorite. Epidiorite's an old school term for amphibolite, I think. And on the right-hand side are like sort of vacuum tubes. So these have a specific function in the story. Actually, I have it right here, so I can show you.
Oh, scale. Fantastic! Oh, there it is.
Yeah, and it's ridiculous.
It is.
And
it's good ridiculous.
I have moments when I wake up and I look at the clock and I say, "What time is it?" Oh no, this is fake.
It's always 3:50. It's always 3:20.
3:20. Yeah. And there's these things used to have like little keys on the back to wind them, so I put that on, and then there's like I went overboard. Like just there's details in the story, like there's a copper button on the bottom that I wanted to put on there, and just these initials, and just to go to the. I don't know. Sometimes I see is like doing too much detail as like procrastination on getting to the next part that I need to work on, but I enjoy the process of it. So there's the back of it.
Ronald Dragstra, it's 3:16 a.m. where you are. Crimson Diamond more important than sleeping. Thank you. I don't know if that's true, but I appreciate the thought.
And that's kind of what the school looks like, to give another sort of vantage point of it. So that's like an unfinished drawing I'm still working on. So that's pretty much it. For that stuff.
Now we're getting into some geological formations.
Well, yeah, I brought this up because when I was in Scotland, when I ditched the Ontario School of College of Art and Design, I went to Scotland and I worked as a tour guide on this island off the west coast of Scotland. And just there was like an old marble quarry on it. There's this rocky island just like a few miles north called Staffa with a cave in it called Fingal's Cave, and it's all these basalt volcanic rocks, and it just I don't know, it inspired me, and I just fell in love with geology and mineralogy, and so like there's a lot of that in my story. So this cross is like 1,200 years old, and when I was making the rock for the mantle clock, the stone to go in, I wanted to sort of match that color and tone. So this cross is made of epidiorite or amphibolite. So I think I need to brighten my color a bit.
So you have an interest in mineralogy and geology as well.
Yeah, so it's funny that, the Crimson Diamond, all the little elements in the inventory, like, I was like, yeah, I can get behind this. This is cool. It's just, it's so sculptural to me, like, rocks and minerals. And it's like, if I wasn't doing this, I wasn't doing like map painting as a career, I would have either liked to get into like botany or geology or mineralogy, like one of those. I think a big part of it, I've done like paintings and stuff of like giant rocks in Scotland and things like that. And there's something that I really love about the palette. And I know, rocks and minerals of all kinds all over the world are, all colors of the rainbow, et cetera, and all different, like metals and different elements in them. But there's something about certain hues and tones and colors in them that I love painting, like as a two-dimensional painting, but also just the objects themselves are just like, they're like art objects.
They are, yeah. No, I totally 100% agree with you. And I guess, I mean, I don't think it's too much of a spoiler to say in chapter 2, I think, of the Crimson Diamond beta, you actually do a little bit of mineralogy in it. And there's a little bit of accidentally educational bits on how to get samples and what you're looking at and things like that.
Accidental education is the best kind of education.
Yes, it is. And adventure games have been always kind of really good for that, I think.
Yeah, I mean, depending, I can show you the screens eventually, like of the games that I loved.
For sure, yeah. In fact, yeah. Why don't we do some screenshot of games, and then we can start talking. I know we want to do the EGA art, so maybe we should do that right before we have you do the EGA art.
That sounds good.
So before we do that, I think it might be a great time to talk about what you do for a living, considering we've been talking about the other project that you've been doing on your own.
Yeah, digital map painting.
Yes, digital map painting.
Yeah, not to give my age away or anything, but I've been doing it, I think, for 20 years now.
Veteran.
And I think I started like late because like all the friends that I made in visual effects are all like 10 years younger than me, for the most part. But a lot of it too was because I went to school. I went to teachers college. I was a teacher for a year before I got into visual effects. So I just didn't know if it was possible or not. Like when I first started trying to get a map painting job, I thought, you'd have to go in and like sweep floors for like a few months before they actually let you like touch a computer. But it was pretty, I mean, as soon as they could see that I had a certain knack for painting and photo collaging, which is what a lot of map painting is, then, they let me actually do shots. But the idea of doing the very first like map painting was terrifying.
Of course.
Yeah, it was just because you're under a microscope, and now I'm still under a microscope, but now I'm just kind of like, all right, I'll fix it.
Yeah, well,
all right, yeah, you want that changed? All right, sure, I'll change it.
That's the benefit of experience, is just knowing, well, I've been in this situation before and I've gotten out of it before, so there's a bit of a confidence you gain from knowing, even if I don't know how I'm going to get out of this situation, I know that I've gotten out of similar situations, so I should probably be okay.
Yeah, they're not gonna like murder me or like kill me or and they might fire me. That's the main stressful point. I was never fired, so I haven't been fired yet. So
fantastic. Well, then that's even less of a chance, hopefully, that will eventually happen.
I think so. Yeah. Yeah, no, I've worked in quite a few different places in Toronto. I worked at Lucasfilm for a short contract, and that was amazing. The movie wasn't amazing, but
Are you gonna name it?
yeah, it was The Last Airbender.
That's not known to be amazing. I never saw
No,
it,
it's
so I
not.
couldn't really say. But
I saw it. I saw it in the theater, and it was great. It was great fun. I mean, to be with like coworkers and
sure,
watching.
yeah, I'm sure. I'm
Well, I'll
sure.
say this. I'll say this about it. The most touching thing, whether or not the movie is good that you work on or television show, the most touching thing that never gets old, as far as I'm concerned, is seeing your name go up in the credits.
Of
And
course.
and my big dream when I was a kid was to see, like, you see all the visual effects houses go up the screen.
Yeah,
So it's like, Industrial Light and Magic, and it goes up the screen, and then you start seeing the names, and my name was under it.
that's fantastic.
And yeah, and I was just like, I can't believe
Yeah,
it.
I don't think that would ever
Yeah.
get old. When I was doing freelance illustration, whenever I would open up the magazine and see my name printed in the magazine, that was always like the best thing ever, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Fractal Mind Mike asks, how many hours does a typical digital map painting take, ballpark?
I mean, so much of it has to do with what's involved, right? So if it's like a complicated moving shot, it could take weeks because it has to be built in 3D. You have a 3D modeler, you have possibly an animator if something's moving on it, like a castle with flags fluttering in the wind. If there's any birds flying around it or whatever, you have someone to light the shot, as well as someone to render it, someone to track it. So if you have an actual camera moving, on a partially built set that needs to be extended, then you have to have a tracker in the department. So you have a pipeline of like, depending on the complexity of the shot, you have a pipeline of so many different people. Whereas there could be like a 2D map painting, 2D meaning just like the camera's not really moving or whatever. So I worked on an episode of Curb Your Enthusiasm, and it was a 2D map painting, and I think I had 3 shots of the same thing. I can show those if you want.
Oh, sure. That'd be amazing.
And I think it took maybe a week, just because there's back and forth, and if the clients are like,
Sure.
can you make this darker, less smoky, or I don't know, more textural? I don't know. I'm just throwing words out now, making stuff up. But yeah, depending on what their response is and their reactions, if they like it right away, like sometimes it could be a day or two. I was working on something today that is reused from another shot, and 2 different shots from a location that I've map painted before, and that took 2 days, like a day or two.
Okay, so that's I think that's relatively quick.
Yeah.
I got Justin and Paul redeemed show a watercolor cat card. While I'm reaching out to find one, there's a question Video 1990X has. Do you have any favorite matte painting artists, past or present?
Yeah. Alfred, not Albert, Whitlock is amazing. Albert Whitlock. He was amazing. He just did, and this is all old paint work. He was really great. Michael Pangrazio was amazing. He did, Empire Strikes Back, Return of the Jedi. He was the map painter that did the warehouse scene at the end of Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Yes, fantastic.
One of my favorites in Raiders of the Lost Ark is the Raven bar where Marion is, and you see like Nepal, and the super comes up as Nepal, and it's like kind of a night shot, evening twilight shot of like, this old shack, this old bar in the mountains, and it's just such a beautiful painting. I think those two. There's a really great guy, a really great artist who's working in digital, named Yannick Dussault, that I got to work with at ILM, and he's fantastic. And he's one of the only guys they let actually just paint, like do paint work, and he can actually paint. Not in a lot of cases not be using some photo reference, like he'll just things. Yeah,
amazing.
Yeah, I mean he still uses reference, but he's just a really good hand at it.
And Deluxe Tech says, from playing Maniac Mansion to working for Lucasfilm, very cool. It is very cool. I've picked out a watercolor cat card to show, and then we'll continue on with some questions. Here we go. This one is from 2016. This is I mirrored, so I'm sorry that I am, but I'm screen sharing, and I don't know how to not do that. But happy birthday, Dad, 2016. This is actually, when I look at this now, it makes me kind of laugh because the idea of having birds all over your cake is kind of disgusting. But these were birds that we would see in our backyard. So we've got the blue jay there, nearest to Dido the cat. We have the woodpecker here. This is a downy woodpecker, and it's a male because he's got the red patch on his head, and a mourning dove. And these are all pretty regular visitors to our garden to this day. And the cake is actually a cake that my mom has made, and it's her specialty. It's like a chocolate mousse cake. Sometimes she'll put strawberries on it as well. But yeah, that is a happy birthday card.
Oh, that's awesome.
Thank you. And it's super off-putting though now, and that's why I picked it, because ugh, birds are
birds
gross.
Birds aren't too bad. I mean, if it was squirrels, I think.
Oh no.
Or like raccoons.
Okay. Thank you for the points redemption, Justin. Okay, what else do we have here? Oh yeah. So Video 1990X. Didn't he do all the stormtroopers when Vader lands on the second Death Star?
What was that?
The one of the map painters you mentioned.
Yeah.
On Video 1990X wanted to know, didn't he do all the stormtroopers when Vader lands on the second Death Star?
I think that was Chris Evans. It was either Chris Evans or Frank Ordaz, and those are amazing. All of those are incredible. Like, just the amount that they built a set, and the set was probably only reached about 10 feet, and everything else is just extended.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, that stuff is just beautiful, and it's paint.
Yeah.
And they weren't enhanced for any of the special editions because they were that good. They might have color corrected them a bit more. But yeah, I have all the behind the scenes. Like, my favorite thing about the original trilogy of Star Wars now isn't so much the movies, but behind the scenes. And just these books I have just show you all the matte paintings, and it's just gorgeous and inspiring stuff. Yeah.
Maximus is saying digital matte, the Crimson Diamond cover incoming. Wow. Who knows? Maybe I could get commissioned something or something. Justin says, sorry for the interruption. Didn't know exactly what I was doing, but I'm glad I did. No, it's fine. I mean, if anyone wants to redeem any points for me to show off anything, absolutely no problem. Albert Whitlock worked on The Thing, that's some of your favorite mats. Video 1990X says. Let's see. Oh, Anna says redeem, show old published artwork for as well. Had
Cool.
to. Okay, sure. I will show old published artwork. Let's see what I have. I don't. Did I show this already? Maybe not.
Speaking of the Return of the Jedi,
Yes.
matte painting, like the landing platform, my art teacher, I was always insecure about art in high school and stuff like that, but my art teacher said to me, I showed it to him, one of those from this glossy book I had of Return of the Jedi matte paintings, and I said, look at this, I could never be this good. And I said, I could never do that. And he said, well, why not you?
Mm-hmm.
Like, and he felt I had talent or whatever. But he said, why not? Like, why not you?
Mm-hmm.
You should be, and it stuck with me. And I think it's just a case of doing it and just keep doing it and doing it and doing it until you get to the stage where people, aren't telling you you're not good enough anymore. They're finally like, okay, yeah, this is acceptable or whatever.
No,
But,
it's so important, I think, to have mentor figures or teachers in your life that are just going to believe in you or just see something in you, and it can really make a difference, I think, for sure.
Absolutely. Yeah, and it's hard to sort of come by that idea of a mentor, like your Gandalf or whatever, whoever is there to sort of say to you, because a lot of kids' parents don't understand what they want to do. They have to find it elsewhere. Anyway.
Yeah, and to find someone that is of your parents' age who does get it is just, it's like magic, I think.
Yeah, for sure.
Because if you grow up with parents who don't understand, and you come across someone who, actually it doesn't have anything to do with age. It just has to do with with life experience and things like that. A person who can see what you're talking about, who you can respect and has walked a path. That's kind of like in Japanese, sensei is teacher, but it means literally the one who has gone before. So yes, this is from this publication, The New
Wow.
Yorker, and this is from 2009, so quite some time ago. And I've got this piece here in there,
Wow.
and this is a piece about an opera that's set in San Francisco. You can see the Golden Gate Bridge here, on the side here, and it was for an opera called Seance on a Wet Afternoon or something like that. Let's see if I can find it. Theater, bright lights. Yes, Stephen Schwartz's Seance on a Wet Afternoon, based on a 1964 film about a psychic who kidnaps a child in a desperate bid for fame. And so that was my piece for them. And this was one of my big, oh my gosh, I've made it as a freelance illustrator, and now my whole life is ahead of me moments when I got published in the New Yorker. It happened twice. This was the second time. If there is another redemption out there eventually, when the thing's off a cooldown, I'll show the second piece I did for the New Yorker. But spoilers, it didn't mean that my life had changed forever, and it was not my big break. It just meant, it meant that I was in the New Yorker, and I can keep saying that, and it's a nice story.
It's amazing.
But
It's so amazing.
it did not launch my illustration career, which might be for the best, because if it had, I would not be here talking to you guys right now, working on a computer game. I would be working on it, currently working on editorial illustration. But I like what I'm doing now, and we're having a nice time. So I can't say that I'm too regretful that it did not pan out for me. Oh, let's see. Deluxe Tux. My school librarian is my hero for this reason. Rest in peace, Mr. Skyer. You're the absolute best. Mr. Scaer. No, I don't know if everyone has a teacher or two in their lives that did that for them, but I hope that you did. Yeah, video.
It makes all the difference.
It can
for
make
sure.
all the difference. Video 1990X, it's especially tough with people who don't understand video games as an art form or legitimate career. Community support is so important. Yeah, absolutely.
Also, if you're in high school and you're a weird nerd, you need all the help you can get.
Are you speaking?
I'm referring to myself.
Okay.
Yeah. I was also unteachable. Like teachers, they just got frustrated with me all the time. So.
Well, why do you think that was?
Because I didn't want to be there.
Mm-hmm.
I hated high school. Just generally didn't like school because whatever they were, I understand the need for fundamentals,
Mm-hmm.
and it takes a while to realize that. But at the time, I just wanted to focus. I should have gone to an arts-based high school. I think that's what it comes down to. Because I went to a jock high school, a Catholic jock high school, where the football team was the most important thing.
Right.
So it's like a cliche '80s movie.
I think it all came out okay in the end.
I think so. Yeah.
Of course we all have that kind of thing of I wish I had done this or wish I had done that. I mean, I've said on stream before that I was the super nerd that tried to be good at everything, and I just exhausted myself. And I kind of wish I was more focused on the stuff that I wanted to do. I wish I had said forget, algebra and geometry, and forget, calculus and all these things. I'm not that interested in these things. I know I like art and English, and I should just concentrate on those. And I didn't do that. So yeah, I sometimes feel like I'm trying to catch up in a lot of ways to people who did do that and got C's in other things. And I would, as a kid, I would be all judgmental and say, well, I'm getting straight A's and everything. Well, it's not really that important. As I get older, I find that you don't need to be good at everything. In fact, you can't be. But yeah, so that's just my own takeaway from it. But everyone has their own path. Anna says, your teacher was Ms. Witt. Got you into Douglas Adams in grade 7? Yes, that's nice.
Ooh,
I'll call out any teachers you guys have who have been important to you. M Lady D Winter I said as well. You made yourself a ghost because you also had were in a high school for jocks. Yeah, I was really fortunate. I actually did go to an arts high school that had a special arts program, and so.
Nice.
I felt really good. We had life drawing even at that time, and it was so. I mean, I mentioned before I did 3 years of college life drawing, where I was doing life drawing for 9 hours a week for 3 years, and I also did life drawing in high school, so I got an early start on that. So I can't complain too much. Let's see. Oh, Anna only made it to grade 9, and Anna is an amazing person who runs her own amazing business now. So there you go. School is
Right.
not everything.
It is not.
No, and the benefit of age and experience have taught me that. When I was a kid, I would have been like, "Oh, I can't believe you dropped out of grade 9," and I would have been all judgmental again. But now, I know what's important now, and I know what isn't, and I feel grateful that I got there. So, because Anna's one of the coolest people I know, basically. Um, but yeah, that's in fact, yeah, we were going to talk about matte painting because we were talking about matte painting. Then we kind of got derailed, which
That's
happens
true.
here, which is fine.
Even
Totally
I
natural.
forgot.
um, yeah, so
Yeah,
let's
because
see.
I'll show the computer screen
Yes,
adventure
please,
page
please.
screens
Yeah,
after.
please do. Yeah, so we'll definitely do that after leading into your EGA art attempt.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yes. Attempt.
first I wanted to ask, yeah, what other movies and shows you worked on, and maybe we can show us some of those Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Yeah, for sure. X-Men Origins Wolverine.
Oh, you know what? I'm gonna check because I think my dad might have it in a bookshop. I'll be
Oh,
right
really?
back. Hold on.
Okay. All right. Which was not good. I did not enjoy it, but the shot that I worked on, and I'll show you guys the image of it. It's not a good movie, but our shot looked really good when we got to see it on like a giant screen. So that was really, really nice to see. And I worked on the Incredible Hulk movie with Ed Norton. Also not a good movie. Let's see. The first movie I ever worked on was a Jason Alexander movie called The Man Who Saved Christmas. Jason Alexander from Seinfeld was in it, and the matte painting I had to do was like a small Christmas village inside a snow globe. And someone said it looked like a Thomas Kincaid painting. I think the client said, "Oh, it looks like a Thomas Kincaid painting." And I said, "Is that a good thing?" And I think my coworkers were like, "No, it's not." Like Thomas Kincaid is this famous painter of shopping mall art.
Yeah,
Let's just put it that
Thomas
way.
King. Yes, Thomas Kincaid. Yes, I remember him well.
I'm being terrible in saying that, but at the same time, when someone self-describes them as the painter of light, then I have a bit of an issue with that.
You know what? Unfortunately, I don't have X-Men Origins Wolverine here, but I do have a bootleg X-Men Last Stand.
Ooh, wow.
Which you probably didn't work on.
I didn't work on it, no.
Was this even good? I don't remember. I don't think it was it?
Wasn't that the second one? I don't even remember.
I don't know. Was this the third one?
I lost track of those movies after X-Men Origins Wolverine.
Well, yeah, I don't even think I've seen X-Men Origins Wolverine. I'm so sorry.
So should I show this
Yes,
stuff?
yes, please do. Yeah, I also, Deluxe Talks, I also really like the Edward Norton Ang Lee Hulk movie. And that was filmed partly in Toronto.
Oh, yes, it was. Sorry, you said you liked it, Julia?
Yes,
Oh,
I believe I did. I can't remember, but I think I liked parts of it.
oh, interesting.
No? Did you not like it?
No,
Or did you
I
not
didn't
see it?
really like it.
Hmm.
I remember being hired by the company and they wouldn't tell me what. I mean, I'm glad I was hired because I made friends there and everything, but they wouldn't tell me what the big movie they were going to be working on was until I signed the contract.
Okay.
So I was like, all right, fine. I signed the contract, and then the guy said, "The Incredible Hulk," and I was like, "Oh, really?
Really?
Like,
You didn't like the Hulk at all, even just as
No, I never liked the Hulk. Like,
Hmm.
actually, I've never liked the Hulk character until like I like Mark Ruffalo's Hulk.
Ah.
Yeah.
So you worked on Ang Lee's Hulk?
No, I worked on Edward Norton's Hulk.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
can't
yeah. That's the
remember.
same one. That's the same one. Ang Lee.
No, well, the Ang Lee Hulk is someone else.
Oh, it's not Edward Norton?
No, I'm trying to remember who even played Hulk in the Ang Lee movie.
I'm a little teapot. You wouldn't like me when I'm Ang Lee. Very good.
Yeah.
We're not talking about the same movie? Okay.
I think apparently the visual effects, because it was ILM that did the Ang Lee Hulk.
Oh, Eric Bana?
Yes, and they would roll their eyes and say "Ang Smash."
I love how Lady D Winter and Justin Paul both responded with Eric Bana with a question mark, like no one knows. Oh, and Mosmus wants to know how much creative freedom do you have on such jobs, on like this, like the shots like Curb and stuff like that. I suppose
It's really funny, and I've just realized this only in the last like 5-6 years.
Mm.
You get the most creative freedom when time is running out. It's honestly, and actually the first matte painting, like I'll show, it's not really a matte painting,
Okay.
I guess it's more of a visual effect shot, is a perfect example of that. So let me see if I can screen share this. Let me know if it's working.
Yes, it is. Perfect.
Okay.
Yes.
So this is Mr. and Mrs. Smith, and they already struck the set, so like, whoops, destroyed the sets by the time they had to shoot this scene, so they needed to shoot it on blue screen. If I pause this, am I pausing my shit? I screwed up. You can still see it, right?
Yes.
Okay. So they needed the hotel room, so we only had fragments of what was shot because they wouldn't release a lot of the footage to us. So I think we had the wallpaper and the color of the trim. So I got and we're totally running out of time, no time to do the shot. And I got my apartment door with my apartment number on it. And that's it right there. And, it was supposed to be a roughed up, messed up hotel room, like something bad had happened. So I just like got cans and shoes and a bunch of crap and threw it everywhere. The little side table where the lamp is actually my side table. And on the bed are a bunch of magazines and stuff. And one of them is a picture of me in profile. And I don't know what the magazine's called, but the article above my head says "Experiencing Depression in the Workplace." So I had a lot of fun with it.
So my question: these are elements that you photographed and incorporated, or did you repaint over them?
Like photographed a lot of them, found some stuff on the internet, painted a bunch of stuff.
Okay.
Adjusted a lot of stuff, like blended a lot of items together.
And how long did this take you?
4 days, maybe.
Okay.
3-4 days, yeah. And then I got to see it on the screen, and the magazine looked huge. Because if you imagine that on a giant movie,
could you see yourself then on the magazine?
Yes.
Amazing.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. Yeah, it was fun. So yeah, and then this is the TV show, The Borgias, which I've shown this quite a bit, but I just really like it. This was filmed in Budapest.
Oh, it hasn't changed yet. No, it hasn't changed yet.
Sorry. I'm gonna.
Of course.
I want to hit pause, but every time I hit pause,
it
pauses the thing. So I'll just keep using back arrow.
This
is the show, The Borgias. It's supposed to be the Vatican.
Right.
It was filmed in Budapest, I think, in Hungary. So this is as much of the set they built, and then there were some like modelers that modeled geometry and stuff with some basic texture, but then I did all the matte painting. So let me see if this will work. Oh, there we go.
Yes.
That works?
Yes, that worked.
And added the, the background hills, the sky, and had to paint a lot. Like had to make stuff up. Like a lot of the towers in the background didn't even use the geometry. So if I go back and forth.
All those little pigeons, did you paint on the roofs and things?
I did actually. I did, because there was a pigeon issue. Oh, you're seeing them on the right side there. Yeah. Oh, yeah, back there. Yeah, I painted the pigeons in, which is crazy.
So when you zoom in, are they just blobs? Do they resolve as pigeons?
I don't know how big the 2048 by 1556, maybe, like pixel-wise. So, like the proportions. I probably doubled that to get more detail, and then comp would just reduce it, the compositor. That's something I got to mention too, is like for every matte painting I do, there's a compositor that has to blend it in with the live action and everything. They have to tweak a lot of the stuff that I do. So, because I don't do compositing myself, so that's why I like doing a lot of conceptual, because there's this, not more authorship, but it's like it doesn't have to go through a pipeline or a process. Whereas this matte painting I would take geometry from the modelers, paint over top of that, then this would be sent to a compositor who'd be doing final tweaks and blending it in with the live action.
M. Lady D. Winter would like you to elaborate on the pigeon issue.
Oh, so apparently in the Vatican, it was a story point, but I don't know if it was a historical story point, but in the show, The Borgias, they were having a pigeon issue in the Vatican, and I don't know if people were getting sick because of
gross.
Yeah, or if it was just like things were getting really dirty, and so pigeons were flocking to the Vatican. It might have been something like the Pope is evil, so this scourge has been sent down from heaven or whatever. So I don't know. I can't remember. But there was an issue, and it was a story point.
Yikes. And
Yeah.
Mouse wants to know, how big are the teams? How many people?
Like on this show, we got nominated actually for an Emmy for this show, so I think there's maybe like 9 of us.
Okay. Wow.
And there's always junior artists, who don't get credit, and a lot of those people are very talented, but it's just like, if you've been working 10 years and someone's only been working 1 year, or they've just started or whatever, obviously, and it's a shame, like not everyone can get credit, but then you look at Star Wars movies where there's 10,000 digital artists, and it's so it's nice to work on something like this that's smaller scale production. This is X-Men Origins Wolverine.
Yes.
3 Mile Island. So it was geometry, and I don't do much of like geometry projection stuff anymore, but so the concept sketch in the top left, because we didn't know what it was going to look like, so that was my suggestion. Then we got the wireframe from, I think, LA, and I had to strip it out because it was too heavy, because if you have a lot of geometry in your model, it just bogs everything down, and Maya was the software I was using, and would keep crashing. So I had to strip it out and actually paint in the detail where the geometry used to be, if that makes sense. So if you have an elaborate model of something, of like a little building, I would just delete a bunch of the greeblies and details on the top and then just paint them in. And so this is like photographic sort of paint work. And I would project it from 3 sort of digital cameras in Maya, because these shots are all moving. I hope I'm not using my hands too much.
No, it's good. It's good. It makes it animated because we're not moving around very much. Nothing
Exactly.
else really is.
Yes. But no, I really like how these turned out. And I know they're not like, this is quite a while ago. This is like 2009 or 2008 or something like that. So it is quite a while ago. But, with the amount of time that was spent in it, I think it turned out well. It looked really nice on the big screen, and there was only about 4 of us working on the shot, like 4 or 5 at the most.
And
so
nowadays, with the way that the computers are so much faster and the technology, do you think you would have had to strip out if you were given that wireframe now? Would that be something that they would have to do, or do you feel like they would just leave it because they can render it now?
I guess they could. The thing is, I was projecting textures onto things. There were so many different points of geometry that they would have to pick up everything. So even if it was a fast computer, I think it would be faster just to strip out all that detail, because it was going to be paint work anyway. But something like this now would be an insane amount of rendering. They would go that extra level and have all that detail there, I think. But again, we had a tight time frame, so I think, I don't know, they were fine with the way I did it, so no one complained. And
it's in the movie, so
it's in the movie. I got to see it. Yeah. So this is a strip in Los Angeles, and so this was the site for Curb Your Enthusiasm, and it was just like a fluke I got to do this. So it's like season 10, the last episode, there's like Latte Larry's and Mocha Joe's, and it's these rival, Larry David's coffee shop versus this other guy's coffee shop. I think the plot line is Larry buys these cheap cup warmers, like battery operated cup warmers or something, and they catch fire. So basically the place burns down. So I think when I got the plate for this, it was just like a blackened facade up by where the letters are. And then everything else is just, I had to paint in and use Photoshop to, add the smashed window and just blacken glass and everything else that, all the rubble in the foreground. I think the stuff on the right-hand side is practical. The stuff on the left, all the glass shards are me.
So you painted those glass shards then?
Yeah, I just find like an image of glass shards and then isolate all the different shards, and probably have to like bump them up.
Boy.
Just so they're more like reflective. And that's, so you can see
nice
what I had to do. It was fun. It was really silly and really fun. And then, I got to see, I think you can find it on YouTube, which is probably where I grabbed these images from. You can find that episode. Or at least that scene from the episode. So, sorry, go ahead.
Video 1990X. I tried to interrupt. Had a question, but I just didn't want to have it get lost in the chat.
Yeah.
Adam Savage once said he accidentally built a Star Wars set 3/4 scale and it had to be replaced digitally. Have you ever had one of your mats or special effects replaced by another effect for any reason?
Yeah, I've had matte paintings I've really liked just been redone and no one said anything because they don't want to upset you or whatever. But that just makes me more upset. Uh, or I don't know, maybe they went in a different direction. I was already working on another shot or something like that. But that's really funny. No, I mean, I can't think of too many instances. It's more like being asked to change things a lot, and then time's running out, and then suddenly they make you stay late after 6 p.m. on a Friday, and they drop the news at like 5:45 p.m. and it's like you have to stay till this is done. I don't really work for places like that anymore, which is great. But this was fun, because of the nature of the show and everything, but also like trying to get the depth on the right-hand side in that window where all the red lights flashing in there. Was really fun. And so you're spending days referencing what the interior of a burned out building looks like, and then just trying to match that, which is what you have to do for reference points all the time. So it's one of the reasons why I don't like working on gore, and I refuse to most of the time.
Right.
I found this one site called field dressing an elk, and then I would just pass that on to everyone. Field dressing an elk is basically
ripping off all the innards.
Yeah, to clean it for meat or what, I don't know. But anyway, so I would just point people to that as a reference point and never have to look it up myself. Some people really like doing that. I don't, but I like looking at smashed buildings and stuff like that. I'm all right with that stuff.
Do you have any advice for anyone who's interested in going into VFX?
Yeah. Let me think. I think it's like, first of all, just like build up your portfolio as much as possible. Know what department you want to be in. There's such a thing as generalists who can, light, render, model, animate, map paint. There are people that can do everything. And if you want to do that, then, you would need to show that in your portfolio. But also, if you want to specialize on one specific thing, I think it's just a case of learning as much software as possible, finding out what maybe the newest software is, because most successful visual effects shops would probably have the most up-to-date software packages. And I don't swear by it or anything, but a lot of people will find crack copies of programs so they can learn them and use them. And there's starter test sets that'll have like watermarks and things like that for renders. But there's ways around it. But yeah, that would be the thing, is just bulking up a portfolio, because to get in there, you don't have any work, except for the work that you do yourself.
So what kinds of shots, and what in terms of portfolio specifically, what kinds of things would they expect to see?
I think say for map painting, just how good you are at extending, say, a building. Like if a building is 8 feet off the ground or 10 feet off the ground, extending that to 15 feet off the ground and adding in trees and adding in different parts of an environment, maybe changing the season, making a summer image winter. I think the one big thing to stay away from is like fantasy art, and like spaceships. And I'm not saying that people wouldn't like to see that, but there's just so much of that. I remember this terrible occasion where the company I was working for, when I did Wolverine, when I was working on Wolverine, one of the bosses said, "Jim, can you give me a hand with these boxes?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure." And it was like 3 really heavy boxes. And I was like, "What is it?" And he was like, "Don't bother asking." So we got it down to the like dumpster or whatever. And I just opened the box and it was all student reels.
Oh.
Like reels and reels of like student work. So, it's just trying to be as good as you can. I think really wanting to do it is a big part of it. Like that you really want to do it. And I think you need to get discouraged. You need to be put through that and just be discouraged by people, just so that you work harder or try to be better, or try to figure out what it is people like, and looking at the best work and seeing what they do, and I don't know if that's helpful, but I think it's a matter of just like sticking with it, even what people say, because who cares what like certain people say? It's only their opinion,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's just a matter of you just keep going because you want to do it, right? It's like what you want to do. Like I wanted to be a map painter when I was like really young, like when I was 14. So I just kept doing it. And another thing with that is like I was always painting and drawing. So like, if you want to be a map painter, I think it's good to show that you can paint, traditionally,
Mm-hmm.
and different, a lot of different things in real life. That would be one of the biggest things, being able to paint, impressionistically, but also photographically, like very lifelike, and having a good mix.
Maximus is asking any specific kind of VFX artist in highest demand these days.
It all depends, I guess. If it's like a Marvel movie, I think animators are big. Creature design is huge. Like map painters are needed. There's like visual effects. There's like a visual effects boom going on right now because there were so many TV shows, and so many movies and things going on. Like Toronto, for instance, is really busy right now. There's a lot of new companies opening up, and I think there's a lot of work out there right now. But yeah, so I think animators, depending on the movie, are really in demand. The good thing about matte painting is, you can have matte paintings in a Marvel movie or a Star Wars movie or a romantic comedy or a television show about doctors and hospitals because they need modernisms painted out, or they need to change a landscape or change a sky, like something as simple as that. So
yeah, that's really good. Maximus also wants to know, do studios ever contract small jobs out to independents?
Yeah, a lot. Yeah, like really small, like the Mr. and Mrs. Smith stuff. Like the company I was working for at the time was, I think, maybe 20 people,
Mm-hmm.
20 or 30 people. So yeah, Game of Thrones would farm out visual effects. I don't know what their main visual effects company was, but I think they had 10 to 15 different visual effects houses. And yeah, if there was a small visual effects house, sort of small independent place of like 10 people that showed that they could do good work and be trusted and get it done on time, then there's a really good chance that they'll get the commission to work on one of those shows.
Mm-hmm. Cool.
Yeah.
You mentioned painting up modernisms and things like that. Now, do you have any examples you could show of what that is, first of all, and then before and after, or anything like that, of examples?
Yeah, I could show you some Viking stuff, because Vikings, that was like 7 years of painting out a lot of anachronisms, and sometimes you get the vista shot, which is really gorgeous, and I feel grateful to work on a shot like that. And then there are other shots where you're painting out clear cut, because back in like the 8th century or 9th century, you wouldn't get massive clear cuts on like an Irish landscape. The show was filmed in Ireland, but we made it look like Norway, so we stand mountains and things like that. But yeah, I mean, I can show something now if.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. So modernisms would be like telephone poles and mailboxes.
Yeah, and just modern buildings. Let me see if there's something I can find in here. I mean, I'll just go through these and I'll see if I can point some out. See. It's right.
Yeah, billboards as well, all those kinds of fun things.
Yeah, billboards, sure.
Okay, perfect. Yes, I'm seeing what you're showing.
Yeah, so there's no modernisms here. This is in Ireland, so I'll go back. Just extending the mountains, so they're much larger. I think this is like season 1 or season 2.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so there's a house. That house needs to be painted over.
Oh,
covered over.
Where's the house? Where's the house?
In the dead center up at the top.
Dead center up at the.
Oh, sorry. Sorry, I'm waiting. Oh, sorry, the screen got paused again. Let me just do the share screen again. Where'd it go? Is this it? Can you see now? Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
Okay. Sorry, it's jumping ahead. Let me go back. It's going through them.
No.
Do that. Let me just stop again.
Yes, please. Don't worry about it. As long as the cameras are not dying, it's going to be fine.
Oh, sorry. Oh, wait, it's working now.
Well, it's not screen shared yet.
Ah, there's me.
There's you.
Me dressed as Viking.
Oh my gosh, amazing.
Yeah, it's going too fast. Oh, wait, maybe I can control it now. Okay, it's caught up, I think. Okay.
Okay.
So, wait.
Technology, everybody.
Technology.
I keep saying.
Okay, whoops. Jesus. Sorry.
This is why I set this channel to mature for this.
I know. I apologize.
No, it's all good.
Okay, can you see the house now?
No, not yet. Because you're not screen sharing yet.
Oh, I'm not. Sorry. Okay. Technology. Okay. Now you should see the house.
Waiting.
Why does it say screen share is paused? Stop share. Stop. Okay, I'm going to try it one more time.
As many times as you need. Yes, perfect. Okay. Oh, it's advancing again.
Hang on. I'm going to stop sharing. Whoops. And I'm just going to close this. I'll close this. And I'll try this one more time. This should work this time. I just had a lot of Windows photo viewers open. So,
okay. No worries.
Okay. Share screen.
Mouse Miss used to binge Vikings. Nice.
Wow. That's cool.
Okay. So
that's not working, is it?
Yeah. We've got the boat in the foreground with the shields and. The high roof on the right, Mouse Miss is saying.
Can you see it?
I see some houses, but I don't know which you painted. One of them is missing a house.
What do you see the courtyard in the building?
I'm still seeing the boat in the foreground, and then there's a huge mountain that I think you added.
Oh, weird.
In the background.
Because even on my I see. Yeah. I don't know. Oh, resume share. Resume share. Resume share not working.
Okay, I saw courtyard for a split second, and now it is not showing anything, but it's showing Windows Photo Viewer, which is nothing in Windows Photo Viewer.
Oops. Okay. Yeah, I don't know what's going on. Let me try. You know what? I'm going to try Windows Photo Viewer, but try not to go full screen.
Okay.
That might be part of the problem. Share. Okay, can you see now?
Yes. So the boat again in the foreground with the ocean and the mountain.
So there.
Okay. Good. Yeah. Courtyard. Yep. Okay. So yes. Now I see the house.
Yeah.
Yes.
So covered over, right?
Right.
I didn't do that background building. That's a render someone did, but everything else is paintwork. And the background, like hills on the right, way in the distance. This was done with a team of 5 of us. So on the left-hand side, you wouldn't really have trees cut like that. There's obvious clear cutting going on there. But this is them viewing the Vikings going off to fight or whatever. So water was added in the fjords and everything. So making Ireland look like Norway. Adding, Norwegian-style mountains to the Irish landscape, making it look like a fjord, because this is actually a lake. It's a small lake. So, I extended it to make it look like there's a waterway. So one thing I'd have to do is raise the water level just slightly so it looks like there's an inlet. This is, background rocks. It's a place called Pulpit Rock that actually exists in Norway. You can see farmer fences and stuff like that, stone fences in the background. So painting those out, making the landscape a little more exotic. This is like Paris. This was all a big render. I didn't have anything to do with the rendering of this, but I painted like the background landscape. And then, yeah, so this is a quarry in Ireland. And again, we're, adding mountains or higher. And then getting rid of landscapes, painting in background mountains. So with something like this, I'd have to paint out the landscape, so extend the sky down, and then to paint out all that landscape and add in the new landscape. In this case, we saved some of the landscape, but just cut it out at a certain point. And then a lot of this is rendered, but we added a lot of the texture of the ground and painted on some of the walls and rooftops. And that's me as a Viking. And I was actually in Vikings for one episode where I ran past camera.
Amazing. Oh, so much fun.
Yeah, it was great. But yeah, I think that answered the question of painting out modernisms and things like that.
Yes, absolutely. Perfect.
It's nice to have that now and again, because it's like sometimes you want busy work where you can turn your brain off if you've come off painting something that took a really long time, that was really complex. And, yeah.
Fantastic. So I guess we got to see a lot of amazing examples of work that you got nominated for. You got nominated for an Emmy 5 times, 6 times?
7?
7 times?
It's now 7 because of 2021, yeah.
And then you won last year.
Yes.
You're nominated this year.
Yeah.
Which is amazing.
With a team, not just me.
Of course,
there's 9 of us, but yeah.
Of course, a team. Which I guess logically it brings us to, can we see the Emmy?
Sure.
All right.
Yeah, it's really heavy.
Fantastic.
Yeah. Let me see if I can read
It
this.
says, lead matte painter, it says along the bottom. Jim Maxwell, lead matte painter, best laid plans, history. Yes, fantastic. So how much does that weigh?
Can't remember. I looked it up. But I don't know. Like maybe like 5 to 8 pounds.
Jeez. And it's gold plated?
Yeah, it's like gold plated, 24 karat gold plated with like zinc, copper, silver, zinc, copper, silver, and then plated in gold.
Oh, video 1990X. I don't know what the triangles are, but thank you for the triangles.
The triangles?
Yeah, there's some triangles in chat. I don't know if I think there might be bits or something, but I don't know much about these things, and I didn't want to. You know what? I'll check really quick what those are. 5 bits. Thank you. We appreciate it.
I was thinking if you want, I can show, and you saw a lot of the before and after images from it, but I can show you the reel.
Please, yes, absolutely. Let's see the reel.
If the screen share works. So maybe I won't do full screen.
Okay.
Or something.
We'll see.
Right?
You can try both ways, in which whichever one works.
Right.
Absolutely. Yes, thank you for the bits, video 1990X. I really appreciate that.
All right, let me try. See if this works. Oh.
Yeah, so Dan's been nominated for a Grammy. Jim has an Emmy. Will Julia win an Oscar? Maybe when the Crimson Diamond inevitably gets that movie deal that we've been hoping.
And you're playing Nancy.
And I'm playing
Nancy Maple.
Certainly. I'll be Kimmy or something. I don't know.
All right, let's see if this works. Okay, can you see this?
Yes, can see.
Okay.
Great. Okay, so this is So what is this? The breakdown reel. It says.
Yeah. So this is this. Oh, it's buffering.
Yeah.
So this was the breakdown reel for the Emmys nomination.
Haha. I love seeing everything get dropped in like that. That's a little fun.
Yeah, it's kind of nice the way they do it.
Yeah. Fact on Mike, you heard it here first, folks. The Crimson Diamond movie confirmed. Sure. For sure. Tell me about cormorants, and prep for your role. There are different kinds of cormorants. The cormorants in the Crimson Diamond are double crested cormorants, I believe.
That's me singing, by the way.
You're singing?
No, I'm just kidding.
Okay, because actually I should probably turn the music off that I'm playing.
Okay.
Because it's
I can mute this.
Oh.
There we go.
So how much of this is stuff you worked on in terms of shots?
If you see like landscape being changed a lot, like this is me, like I did this. So
right.
And then compositing, added a few things in there, and obviously had to compose the shot and put it together. So there was a few of those that I worked on, the mountains. It would probably be either me, we had a team of 7 people, but in this reel, I think this is mostly myself and another really great map painter named Charles Tigner, and he's really good. But yeah, I mean, this is a team of 9 leads basically with 10 other artists, alongside. So, the amount of boats and people that have to be rendered.
Sure.
It'd be funny. I'd be walking down the hallway, and there are so many fake people here that I'd see Kieran, who worked on the show, in a mocap suit, running to make he's running up a hill kind of thing with a shield. And
oh my gosh. Fantastic.
Yeah, so Charles and I both worked on that last shot, and it kept going back and forth between us because we kept getting pulled onto other shots. But yeah, a lot of work. The majority of the ships that you see are all CG.
Wow.
Which means lighting, rendering, tracking, texturing, and then compositing, because compositors will tweak a lot in the end.
Video 1990X asked, do VFX pros label their layers?
Yeah. They would have to, otherwise it would slow the process down.
Because these guys some of them have seen me do pixel art for the streams, and I don't, and it's horrendous.
Oh, I'm terrible with Photoshop layers, but in the end, when I have to pass it off to compositing, I have to label them. But I'll end up having stop share. I'll end up having 300 layers, for something, and I don't have anything labeled. So I have to clean it up after the fact and label it all.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Yeah, awesome. It's nice to see. It was a little bit choppy because I think it's struggling a little bit, but no, it's really cool to see how everything works in context. Which I think it's a good time to actually show some of that game art that you mentioned.
For sure,
I think we're going to soon move into, because we're coming on 10:15 now, and we haven't even started with the EGA painting. So it would be really good to see some of the examples
for sure,
of game art that you like, and then we can kind of transition into you trying a little bit of EGA art.
I can't believe how fast time has moved.
I know.
It's crazy. Yeah. Okay. Can you see my screen?
Yes. We see the browser. We see scheduling made easy with Zoom.
Weird. Okay, let me stop and I'll start share again. So share screen. Share. You see that?
Yes. So we've seen the VIC-20.
I love this artwork so much, and these were the text adventure games I played when I was a kid, and again, they were a bit like choose your own adventure games, but more so. I don't know. There was something just so different about it, obviously, and I just love kind of leaning on this cover artwork. Is being an artistic kid and everything, to have this as well as the story points was just so great, and I loved it so much. Oops. And then this is the Osborne books.
Yes. Oh wow.
And I think I had the Mystery of Silver Mountain. I think that was the one that I had. And it had this beautiful map of the entire thing. And I tried to find images of it, but I couldn't. But it'd be fun to try these again.
The fonts are amazing that they've used here. It's just amazing.
They're so good. Yeah. It's so inviting to
yes.
me. And it's how children's book covers, or even computer game covers, they'd eventually get to the point where the art degraded. Not all of it. A lot of it would degrade, and it would look like cereal box art, where it's just trying to appeal to like, you know, the most hyperactive quality kids. You know, whereas, you know, something like Island of Secrets is so subdued.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
So this is Bard's Tale, which I really loved, and it's, you know, it's not like text parser, but something as simple as the guild.
Yes.
Like when you go to the guild and you have this image, because you're playing in such a limited, you know, graphic context, something like that guild photo would just pop for me and really, like, you know, you'd fill in the gaps. So, you know, it would make it would feel so warm and cozy, and then, you know, you'd go back down into the sewers and come across monsters and orcs and stuff, and I just really loved it so much. Here's Leisure Suit Larry.
Classic.
Lefties. And just this, like, just makes my eyes hurt. Like I compare this to the Crimson Diamond, you know, and it's just, not only is it like badly done.
How dare you? This is amazing.
But it's it just hurts my eyes, the color palette. And you have a similar color palette.
It's the exact same color palette.
But you use it so tastefully, and like, I'm not like, I don't know, the game is, when did it come out? I can't remember, like 81 or something, or later?
In early 80s for sure.
Right.
I couldn't, if someone is going to know in chat, they're going to know. But yeah, this is an earlier engine, graphic engine in Sierra. It was AGI, and that's why the pixels are so wide, is because they were saving space, because they're actually working at 160 by 200, and then they would just expand it.
Oh, okay.
And so that was to save space. But when you know, when computers and technology advanced, they were able to do a 1:1 pixel ratio. So they said that basically doubled the memory that graphics were using.
Right.
So like my game is looks like that second major generation of Sierra games, which was the SCI adapter.
So a step up from this.
A step up from this, yeah.
Obviously, yeah. And then Maniac Mansion, which is
also EGA, beautiful.
For Good Time, Call Edna. I think that's what it is.
Yes, something like
terrifying. I think what happens is when you come into this room, the shower curtain across.
It's closed, yes.
Terrifying.
Yeah. Eating Way says it sounds like he doesn't love EGA, Julia. Yeah. I don't know.
No, I do. I really do. I wouldn't be on the stream if it wasn't for how much I love it. I love this scene. Just like, it's just a gorgeous room, all the rivets. It's obviously metal. Metal boilerplate.
And I love that they use blue and not gray from metal. Well, some of it is great, but I love these the arcade machines and things. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And they copied this in Thimbleweed Park.
So good.
In Thimbleweed Park, yeah, I like that you could actually play them. You could keep like putting quarters in.
I don't remember.
Over and over again.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, there were, I think, 3 of the games you could actually play. It's just terrifying. It's terrifying.
It is terrifying.
It's so silly and everything, but I don't know. There's something about it that's so, maybe because nothing like that had been done before. You know, there was no horror elements in games. There was just like sleazy guys in cheap suits.
It's super, super creepy. Very effective.
Yeah. And I think this is where you can get stuck in the game.
Yes.
Where, like, if you do something out of order, you're trapped, and that's it.
Because I think you have to have someone hold the door open for the other person to get out or something. I don't remember exactly.
Yeah, something like that, or pull the chain or
something.
Yeah. The Monkey Island is great.
Stand.
This image like popped out to me. Like, I just chose the ones that I remembered the most, and the sort of pub kind of guild kind of area. Like, just, I love the warmth, like the simplicity of like EGA games, and, you know, just little bits of texture here and there, like the dithering in this is really nice.
It's really, really skillful stuff.
That's great.
Oh, I love, that's really, really, really beautiful. Yeah.
The ship, obviously. And I love pirates so much. Like, as a kid, would always paint fake pirate maps and try to ape them and everything. So this game really appealed to me. And so the map is my favorite image. I don't know what it is. I think maybe just because when you played it, you could see, like, you traveling. Is that
Yes,
right?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Little pirates and little you, and just about 6 pixels all together, just bobbing
Yeah.
along the path.
And
Yeah,
would the map be day and night depending on
I
when you were playing,
I
or was it
can't
always
remember.
night?
I feel like this was always night, but I can't
Yeah.
remember. Yeah,
It's just beautiful, so
yeah.
beautifully done, just like the little highlight points.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because I saw you doing your fisherman.
Yes, at night.
And
Yes.
that's it. Is that at twilight?
It's supposed to be quite late at night. I think I was definitely taking my cues from Monkey Island and other games
Mm.
that have that dark, deep blue for nighttime.
Yeah, like this
Um,
is gorgeous.
yeah, this is beautiful. The actual nighttime in the Crimson Diamond is more the cyan color, which is
Mm.
just like
Right.
a bright moonlight almost. It's actually even brighter than the daylight. I think just if you kind of take the tone, like completely desaturate it, I
Yeah.
actually think the nighttime was brighter than the daytime.
Mm. Is Monkey Island 64 colors?
It depends on
What version?
what
Okay.
version. The EGA one that I played would have been 16 colors, but this one definitely
Okay.
looks like enhanced. It looks like
Yeah.
some kind of an enhanced version.
And then Zak McKracken, which is my all-time favorite.
Ah,
And you haven't played it,
no,
have
I
you?
haven't. I
Okay.
haven't.
It's I don't know, it's really wild because you can go to so many different places. You get to travel and move. So, your standard EGA game would take place in a building. Like maybe you have to get there. And so there's that aspect of it. But in a lot of cases you're in a building. And so you go around the building and problem solve or find things. But this game, like you go to an airport and you get on a plane and you travel to Peru, I think at one point. At one point you travel to Mount Rainier in Washington because there's a UFO tie-in thing and there were all these UFO sightings in Washington State. And then you go to Mars and you go to Egypt and there's this whole
gosh.
connection point between the whole thing about Egypt and aliens and just
Sure.
the three pyramids on what is it?
Giza.
The Giza Plateau.
Oh, I don't
and-
know what
and-
the plateau is called. I don't know.
It's not Khufu. I think it might be Giza. Pyramids of Giza.
Yeah,
But
this is
anyway,
Pyramids of Giza.
the three pyramids are supposed to reflect the stars of Orion. So they're the combination of the way they're placed or whatever mimics Orion in the sky,
Wow.
the constellation. And so they're playing on that in Zak McKracken, and he works for like a sort of National Enquirer kind of sort of place.
Oh wow! Fractal Mind Mike also hard recommends Zak McKracken. It is. I'm just staring at these screens. In fact, just looking at the bedroom, there's so many things like lessons to take from how the lighting is done there.
Mm-hmm.
Like for instance, if you look out that window, you see the buildings in the distance, and
Yeah.
how the ones that the unlit side is the blues, and the edge of it is that light gray, and it gives this amazing sense of lighting with those four colors.
Yeah, and the fact that you can use gray as a warm color,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know, to suggest a highlight is pretty amazing.
Yeah, it's just that's the magic I think of EGA, where you get this idea of a sense of like that desk is casting a shadow on a
Yeah.
carpet, and you've got only two colors of green and two colors of blue, but because you're having one echo the other,
Mm.
it looks like lighting, and it's
Yeah.
not. It's just a complete illusion. I love it so much.
That's what I really like in the Crimson Diamond, the way you're handling night and day, and color palette choices for nighttime versus the daytime, and because you've limited yourself, but it's such a discipline that I couldn't do that. I'd need more color, but just the way you handle that is great.
Oh, thank you. Oh, this is
here's
fantastic.
Mount Rainier.
Wow.
Do you see Mount Rainier right now? I'm just wondering if
Yes.
it's like
Yes.
okay, yeah. Which reminds me a little, and you've never played this, but it reminds me a bit of part of your game, which I guess I can't really spoil.
Oh,
Do you know what I mean? In reverse,
in reverse. Oh boy, this is getting cryptic.
if you were to reverse the composition
Okay.
horizontally,
Oh my
And-
God.
just the rock wall is what.
Okay,
I'm
the
talking
rock wall. Right, of course.
Yeah,
Yeah.
But I won't say anything else about it. So here's the van that's turned into a spaceship. That gets
Oh my
you to-
gosh.
It's like a Martian
Wow.
that they find on Mars. It's such a cool game and so creepy, and it's got the best theme song out of any EGA game that I know of. And then this came with the game. I think came in the box, the National Inquisitor magazine, and then the face on Mars was big at the time. Like
Right, of
they just
course.
discovered that, and it was just
Yes.
like a collection of rocks. And then the Watchmen comic played on that as well.
Yes.
Um, so, and I've always loved astronomy, so the game was just so I was so excited. Hey, it's Crimson
Oh, it's
Diamond.
the Crimson Diamond. Fantastic.
Oh, I don't know if I should go through these. Well, this is all available on because I just stole these from the internet.
That
So
works.
I should be able to show them, right?
Of course.
Yeah.
I believe so.
Great logo, by the way.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
It's behind me too.
Yeah, I just love how homey this is and comfy. It's like the blankets on the beds almost look like they smell like mildew. You know what I mean? I don't know what it is. It's like I guess you project so much into it
For sure. Yeah,
because
for
of
sure.
its simplicity.
I tried to make the effect of moonlight on the window seat and the beds as well. And during the daytime, the lighting does change in these rooms subtly. So you get
right.
the windows outside. You get to see it's like a brighter outside, and then the light that comes onto the beds and the window seat is going to be warmer.
Mm.
So I wanted to play with color and light that way too.
I don't know if these are all updated, but this is really nice. I like it a lot. I love this so much, and I love the animation, the way it's like when I saw it happen, it made me laugh. Like I just loved seeing
Oh, good! I'm so
her
glad.
sort of sliding into place, and just great to see her that much bigger.
Mm-hmm.
Because it seems less pixelated.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Oh, for sure.
obviously it is, but and seeing the crabbiness of the characters inside the room, she just looks so crabby. Like you handled that so well, and it's so small. And it reminds me so much, just the composition, everything, just of that, the era that's inspired it, I guess.
Oh, thank you. I would definitely took a lot of visual cues from the old stuff. There's a lot of good stuff out there. Hey, Jess, good to see you, Giselle. Yeah, add a scratch and sniff card like the Leisure Larry game, but have it smell of pine, wood, mildew, all that kind of stuff. That would be a lot of fun. Oh, thank you guys.
I like the uniqueness of the characters. Like they're very indistinguishable from each other, and there is that sort of Clue-like quality I think you've mentioned.
Yes,
right?
yeah, I was heavily influenced by Clue for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like a lot of spooky moments too, which is like my favorite thing.
Good.
So, yeah.
Wonderful. And I think that naturally will transition us into maybe you trying for a little bit. It's 10:30 now. I know we reached the limit for the stream, but I did want to see you even just try a little bit with the palette.
Yeah. Okay. Let me share my screen and see if Photoshop will work.
For sure.
Oops. Can you see?
Give it a second. Yes. Okay, good. So you've got this is the screen of your choice then for you're going to turn into EGA.
Yes, going to try.
Wonderful.
So I am using the very advanced Photoshop CS3.
Oh my.
I know I'm admitting something I probably shouldn't. Professional work. But I love it. And as Photoshop progressed, you get a lot of bells and whistles that again are very, very useful, but I try to keep things as simple as possible. So if I wanted to transition between these blues,
right,
I would grab one layer and overlay it, and then.
No, you don't. No, you can't.
Don't?
Okay. You can. Everything is 100%.
Okay.
I had 100%. No alpha. No blur. No defocus.
No opacity.
No opacity change.
I can't lower my opacity, right?
No.
Okay.
I'm so sorry.
That's okay.
But if you wanted to ease the transition between those two layers of clouds, you could use the one of a dither.
Mm-hmm.
So you would use potentially the light blue dither potentially.
Okay. So if I bring that up over top.
So you could try to do that, and then you could try to paint in a bit.
Oh, am I allowed to use paint bucket?
Oh, well, yeah, paint bucket's fine. But I was thinking, if you were to just on the whatever the right hand side of that is, and then you actually use the pencil tool to paint back, and so you can see you're getting an intermediate
Oh, that's cool. Yeah.
tone in a
Oh,
way.
very cool. Yeah.
Oh,
And then, sorry, go ahead.
yes. What have you come back to? Is he learning pixel art? Yes, we're teaching Jim pixel art. And this canvas is 320 by 200 pixels.
Here,
Um,
I'll show that side of things. There we go.
and yeah, so your usual screen resolution that you work when you're working on something like Vikings, what type of
Yeah.
screen resolution are you using?
Um, it would depend. Let me think. I think I might have it written down somewhere. Eight. Let me think. Like I'm working at 8K because depending on the digital camera, like the show's been shot in, if it's shot in like a red camera,
Mm-hmm.
or like a red camera will have a very specific output. I think they're 3 or 4K. I think they're closer to 4K. So I would double that, and a canvas size that I used today was, I've got this wrong, but it's somewhere around here, like 9782 by 4320, something like that.
9782 by 4320. So this is a little bit of a step down in terms of resolution.
A little bit, but like I really love the dither. Like I love how it looks. So yeah, so now if I was to bring like white up over top, then I could fade that. So let me use paint bucket again. I should move a lot faster because I know we're running out of time. But oh, there we go. Look at that.
See?
That's gorgeous. Yeah.
Yes.
That's really nice. And then, I mean, I really should move this color down more. So let me just paint more of this. Whoa, that's ugly. That's not what I wanted. Where's my color? Is that because the thing is over top?
So let's see, 320 versus
there we go.
9,000 something. So yeah, you're working at about 30 times the resolution, I guess, that I'm working at.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And slow to save, and Whoops.
Yeah, yeah. Your typical file size is what you would say?
Like I don't know, like maybe 500. It'd be like 500 to 509. Yeah, 500 to like 1,000 megabytes.
Okay.
And but my working file could be like 2.5 gigabytes.
Okay. Wow.
But once I've cleaned up my file, I try to use as limited amounts of layers as possible to give to the compositor. Otherwise, it's a headache for them. So I try to simplify it as easy as possible so I can get it down to like 10 to 15 layers for a relatively complex shot. And that'll be like 980 megabytes or something like that.
Okay. And looks like right now we're at 2.81 megabytes, maybe? Is that what that says?
Okay. Let me see.
Oh, 187K.
Yeah. So, okay, so there's that. And then I'll add orange. This is like, it's actually really fun. I remember like, I was like, I want to be a map painter. So I started messing around in MS Paint. And it was okay. It wasn't too bad. And then I bit the bullet and actually bought Photoshop. Which felt really good. Like, I don't know about you, but when I first bought it, I just felt really happy about it.
Oh, well, yeah, I mean, I got Adobe CS2 in college as sort of like a combined birthday Christmas gift for my parents.
Oh, nice.
And until very recently, I was using CS2 for everything.
Wow.
Yeah. This is wonderful already. Look at this. Oh, this is so exciting.
It is. It's really fun. It's like, I mean, if I had more time and I didn't have a children's book I was working on, I'd love to like work on a computer game.
Oh, for sure. Part. Look at this.
Let me see.
It's glorious.
Here, I'll just use pure black. There we go.
Oh, Justin Paul, you bought Photoshop 6 back in 2000. You wonder if it would still work? There's no reason why it shouldn't work. It just might not be optimized to the computers nowadays, which is kind of why I switched over to Adobe Photoshop Creative Cloud. When I was streaming art stuff, pixel art stuff for the Crimson Diamond, it was like super laggy to the point of like 1 or 2 second delay when I was switching tools and things, and it was basically unusable. And that's kind of why I switched over to the newest version. Otherwise, I probably would still be using CS2. Yeah, and that's another thing. Fractal Mind Mike brings up a good point. So this image, as it is now, already fills up a quarter of a floppy disk. So, so yeah, the limitations that those artists and developers working under back in those days were extreme.
And force them to be more creative. Like, wouldn't you say?
Oh yeah, I think so. They really did push the envelope in terms of the technology too.
Yeah.
A lot of them, not all of the artists back in those days, but someone like Douglas Herring, who worked on the Colonel's Bequest, he not only was an artist, but he also was sort of like someone who was really technically knowledgeable, and he was developing the tools as he was using them, which I can't even imagine ever doing. On the other hand, you have someone like Mark Ferrari, who helped LucasArts develop the dithering that they had post Zak McKracken, and what they used for Loom, when he just said, I want to be able to use kind of like dot patterns when I do the art, because we only have 16 colors, and I want to make intermediate colors by blending 2 colors together. And they figured it out for him,
wow.
having thought maybe it wasn't even possible. But yeah, so I mean, I'm more like the Mark Ferrari than the Doug Herring. Like, I don't know the tools enough to develop them. I just take full advantage of other people's know-how, which is, this is amazing.
These layers are awesome. They're amazing. No, I mean the layers that these dithering layers.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it just forces you to. It's kind of like forcing your discipline a certain way. It's like you're in an emergency situation and someone's taken 80% of your toolbox away from you, and you've got like 3 tools left.
Yes, it's like those survival games on TV where they give you a knife and they just let you loose in the woods to survive. Hello, Crit Rocket Runner. Good to see you. Yes, this is a columnar basalt formation that Jim was mentioning earlier on in stream, that he went to Scotland, and this is a beautiful geological formation.
Yeah, they're like hexagonal. Like when you see them from above, they're like hexagons. And there's a place in Ireland called the Giant's Causeway, in exact same geology. Mm-hmm. Led Zeppelin used it on one of their album covers. But anyway, it's called the Giant's Causeway because, the mythology goes that Finn McCool, Fingal the Giant, left Ireland for Scotland and walked across this causeway that's since been covered in the ocean. And this is the Isle of Staffa, and this big black cave on the right-hand side is called Fingal's Cave, after Fingal the Giant. So that's the history. Yeah, I mean, this reminds me so much of MS Paint and messing around.
Yes, it does. Justin says, this is looking quite promising. After this challenge, have Jim try his hand at 1-bit pixel art, just black and white. Black and white would be something. It's fun to see just you have these colors. I think it almost might be easier to do this in black and white.
Interesting.
Because you can just concentrate completely on form, and with the colors, you're still this expectation that you're going to try to approximate the color, even though there's just no chance.
It's fun. It's a lot of fun.
What a treat.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose I could probably blend, but you said I can't use any opacity.
No.
Changes. Right.
Oh no.
Okay. Oh, yeah. In terms of blending those layers, it's kind of impossible to. It's just being imaginative with what you have. I mean, I think that's the bottom line.
It almost feels like we're watching this being rendered very slowly.
like like really old ray tracing or something.
Something where, we've loaded up the screen, but it's taking a while.
Yeah. Taking too long. Splash.
Yeah, beautiful. Yeah. Wow. Yeah, it's looking pretty awesome already, Giselle says.
Thank you.
It is.
Yeah.
Truly painting with pixels. And Jim's getting a lot more done in the 15 minutes he's been working on this than I do usually on an art stream, so here we go. Yeah,
I'm just impatient.
No, it's good. It's good. I think I can be too careful sometimes and try to polish things up too much. Which I guess brings me to say, yeah, I mean, usually art streams are me working on pixel art way slower than this, working on upgrading the introductory sequence art for the Crimson Diamond, alternating that with music streams with Dan Polakar, who's the musician, and he's composing the music live on streams. And there are his dantheband.com, and we do the music streams on Dan the Band Music on Twitch. And I think we'll be doing a music one next week, so look forward to that. I'm not sure what we'll be doing yet, but yes, we'll be figuring something out. But it's wonderful to have guests on because it's a little bit of a change of pace, and we get to see all kinds of awesome things that other people are up to. Wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wonderful. Look at this. You're gonna sign your work. Is that the giant from the Giant's Causeway?
Sure, it's Fingal Jim the Giant.
And it is, yeah, it's great use of the palette so far. Yeah, I totally agree. And today has been fun. And Jess is asking, is this for Nancy Maple too? I could totally see this being a screen in that. Minus the dinosaur and the giant, maybe it could be sort of there could be a painting up on the wall or something. Have this up there. Wonderful.
Thank
Fantastic. Thank you so much.
Yes, thanks so much for having me.
And this is wonderful.
Yeah.
I guess all that remains is I'm going to look for someone to raid, because I think we went a little bit over time, but I think we had so much fun and so much to cover. So let's see. Oh, Anna was just dropping in for a minute. You had to stay for the whole thing. It was so fascinating. Wonderful. No, thank you. Really appreciate it. Yeah, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to quickly... oh my gosh. I'm going to stop screen sharing. Hold on. No, I can't because our cameras are going to be completely off. You know what? I'm not going to stop screen sharing. I'm actually going to do the raid from my iPad. I'm going to see who's on. There is... ooh, you know what? This is actually... perfect, because the Renaissance is playing The Secret of Monkey Island right now as we speak.
Ooh, wow.
So I think that would be perfect for us to raid tonight. Okay, so the Renaissance. Hold on, I keep needing to write his name down because he doesn't spell it like the Renaissance. There, N-E-S, ants. Okay, so I'm gonna just set that up real quick, and then we're gonna just set up for tomorrow, and then we're going to do our thank yous and our goodbyes. Let's see here. This was amazing. Okay, so let me just set this up. Raid. There. N-E-S ants. Yeah, thank you, Jim. Thank you so much for being a guest on the stream. It's been a real treat.
It was a lot of fun.
Good, I'm glad.
It just blew by.
It did blow by, and amazingly quickly. And yeah, so really good luck with your Emmy nomination this year.
Thank you very much.
Wish you all the best with it.
Thanks.
But yeah, I'm gonna set this up to raid, and did that work? Okay, yes, perfect. And so yeah, as I mentioned, next week will be a Dan music stream with a genuine Roland MT32. Hopefully, we'll be composing a track from beginning to end. And yeah, if you liked some of the art you've seen today, I think Jim showed some Crimson Diamond. I didn't show the trailer today because I didn't want to figure out the screen share myself. I didn't want to break anything. But yeah, don't even know if I introduced myself, but I'm Julia Minamata, making the game behind me. There are a bunch of links in the chat. thecrimsondiamond.com is the website you'll find all the stuff at. There's a demo on Steam. If you like what you see, wishlist it. And yeah, that's all we got. Looks like we are. I'm not sure how many people we have up in the raid, but it looks like we've got a full complement of people to raid Renaissance on the Secret of Monkey Island. And everyone have a great night. See you guys next week with Dan. And so I'm gonna raid. See you guys.